to the website. Got my number.
Is everything else still working?
Yeah.
He's gonna be big for them.
Give me a mic check.
Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Okay, it's gonna pick up from here.
Let me. I don't understand all these people saying Philly not deep enough.
He just doesn't.
They're 8 or 9 deep.
They are. He just doesn't use them. Yeah, he don't use everybody, but he got a lot of talent on that bench.
But here's the thing, right? Like, think about it. On that bench is Amir Johnson. On that bench is Boban. On that bench is Tyler Ennis. And then not Tyler, James Ennis. And then you got who's the other one?
TJ McConnell.
You got McConnell. And you got who's the other wing that they picked up in the trades?
Oh, light skin with the hell one.
Yeah, Mike Scott.
Yeah.
You know, so shit, bro. Like,
But you know how to use them though. I think it goes back to the coaching. Like certain coaches, like they only want to use a star. Like it's like the Tom Thibodeau thing. Like he only use his star players. He don't really want to go into that deep bench just yet.
But look at every championship team, right? Like no championship team outside of Golden State plays 10 deep in the playoffs like that. Mm-hmm. You know, typically that rotation gets shortened up, and you're playing 8 or 9 guys. So I don't know. Like I keep hearing, oh, you know, Philly not deep enough. What are y'all watching? Maybe everybody, you know, 8 or 9 deep doesn't play at the same level that the top 5 guys do.
They wanted the more like if you look at the Clippers, they got Lou Will. If you look at Golden State, they got Iggy, or they got Sean Livingston. They want someone like a bona fide like 6-man. When in Philly, it's like you got like people who can make up a 6-man.
Yeah, no, of course, but that's the reason why I like the way they're constructed, because the starting lineup is so strong that if you take like you can always have a star on the court. You know what I'm saying? Like there should never
be at least 2.
Yeah, there should never be a time when, because you literally have 4 legit stars: Ben, Jimmy, Tobias, and Embiid. Out Ben, you know what I'm saying, and insert whoever, TJ and whoever, you know, insert Mike Scott. Like I don't know. I just think through rotations, this is.
But also you gotta think about this. Half the squad came over in the middle of the season too, so he hasn't gotten used to those players. He don't know who fits where and what lineup. You know what I'm saying? Like to give him the benefit of the doubt as far as Brett Brown. That's what he's only like. Shit, fuck it. We got these stars for reasons. I'm just gonna play the star.
He said we need a couple more pieces around Blake and
What up?
Josh Trevino.
I got a question.
Easier said than done.
Before you be.
Easier said than done. You know, I feel like honestly, most people don't equate or add into the wow, he made that. Add into the conversation salary cap. Yeah, it's nice in theory. Oh yeah, you know, we just need 1 or 2 more pieces in Detroit. How you gonna afford that? Because y'all still paying Reggie Jackson. You know what I'm saying?
Still? When is his contract up? I feel like y'all been paying him about
Maybe
10 years.
1 or 2 more years, right?
I feel like he been left OKC. Yeah.
Wow, with a tap pass.
Philly like holla at me. Y'all been talking this shit.
No, I knew Philly was gonna get, especially when they won the game 4. I knew they was coming out game 5. It's like, fuck it, we just need to bury these niggas.
Yeah.
Like Bolden is a nice young piece that they
Boban?
acquired. No, Bolden.
But Jonah Bolden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Q just texted me talking about this game means absolutely nothing. I guess he may. Let me see. I think he's talking about how big they're blowing him out.
No. But this game does mean something because how many times do we see? And we saw it last night, right, in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
How many times does the favorite come in a closeout game, and they kind of squander that? They don't step on their neck, and that's what Philly's doing. That's what championship teams are supposed to do. We know we're better than you, and guess what? We're not going to even give you an opportunity to win. Like, it's not even a thought in your mind. You thinking about vacation, what chick you going to hit up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You nigga, you need to be planning about the offseason. You ain't thinking about no basketball right now.
But yeah, you're right. You got to go and put him to bed.
Put him to bed.
Yeah, and just get this over with. But stop playing around. Somebody can get hurt. Try to take advantage. This actually shows some playoff maturity by them to go ahead and knock this out. So yeah, I agree with
because
that.
think about it. Like hopefully Jimmy, you know what I'm saying, will get the rest. Obviously they're gonna rest Embiid. Like you damn near got a 40-point lead on these boys. Embiid ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? So this is how you're supposed to play in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? When you feel that team is that much more inferior than you, you out of here. This ain't no 10-point game. This ain't no 2-3 possession game.
Right.
Shit. Thorough beat down. Especially if your competitor is not at your level and Brooklyn is not at Philly's level.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what type of adjustments he made to slow down that dribble penetration, because that was killing them. Which they get Toronto next go round.
Yep.
Yeah, might be a wrap.
So,
yeah. Might be a wrap for who?
We're going to get to it.
Yeah, we're going to get to it. We are going to get to it.
This is the place where sports opinions collide. Dead in Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Biens. Joining me as usual is Mr. Disrespect.
How y'all doing?
FIFO 24/7.
Thank you, Ken.
BZ 413.
What up, though?
Have a good show tonight, B?
Yep, we did. Had a great show.
Cool. If you guys, think y'all, if you are in Atlanta, I mean, you can actually drive down if you want. We're having a tournament here May 11th, Mortal Kombat tournament, put on by the guys at Dead End Gaming. Granddad says come get it. If you guys think he can beat him, then show up and show out. And all the details will be on where's the information at? Is it on the Instagram?
Yeah, it's on the Instagram and it's on Twitter. The Dead End Gaming.
Okay.
Twitter and Dead End Gaming Instagram.
Yeah. For details, go check out Instagram and the Twitter. Twitter.com/deadendgames. Same thing for Instagram. So anyway, tonight we're talking about, of course, it's going to be basketball heavy. For those of you looking to hear us talk about the NFL, we talk beforehand, and we're going to cover the draft after it's done. That makes the most sense for us, with us being a weekly podcast. So we'll just, instead of pontificating, we're just going to go ahead and just talk about what actually transpired instead of guessing. So yeah, man. So right now, Philly and Brooklyn, they're playing.
Oh, them boys, man,
they ain't playing. They pretty much done.
Okay. What's the score right now?
59-95.
All right, there y'all go.
1:15 left to go in the third quarter.
Man.
Yeah, when they bring out Shabazz Napier, it's
yeah,
Shabazz.
you kind of figured it was a wrap. Man, Jared Dudley, man, what y'all think that post game gonna be like? Because he was talking a lot.
He was fighting
but he's
too.
Supposed to though, Ken. Like that's his job. He's the playing version of Scalabrine.
No, I get it.
What is his job? That's what I want to know. Like,
Jared Dudley?
What does he do well?
He's just a role player. He just
his
seasoned
shots,
events.
hit open threes. He's a spot-up shooter, especially at this point in his career. You know what I'm saying? Play tough defense, which means I'm gonna foul you 85% of the time, and the ref ain't gonna call it just because I'm old and he know it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He's a mentor.
And to mentor the youngins. You know what I'm saying? For the look. Like on this telecast, we always say the young players need to take ass whoopings. This is going to do wonders for D'Lo's game. This is going to do wonders for Jarrett Allen's game. Karis LeVert. They're that young core. They need to experience this type of stuff. You know, and you need a guy like Jared Dudley that during the battle, you know, he ain't backing down, and he got your back. Wasn't he the second one to go over there and push Embiid and stuff?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Having everybody's back. During that, after that game, the press conference, you know, he bigged everybody up and said, I will do it again. It doesn't matter. That's my teammate. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody going to be disrespectful out here. So you need veteran guys to boost up the confidence of your young stars. And you need that mentor, because obviously Jared Dudley's been through this before. You know what I'm saying? All these youngins haven't. How do I work through it psychologically, physically? How do I go into the offseason?
The gamesmanship from game to game. Yep. You know, the intensity.
Yep.
You know, being able to have to get up for an opponent another game and another game and another game, losing a close game like they did. Obviously, they didn't recover from that loss because they getting smacked.
Yep.
You know, because they felt they did have it. Like, they were in control of that game, but they couldn't pull away. Did you watch the game?
I saw highlights.
Man, I was watching. I was like, man, it felt like a game that Philly could steal.
Which game? You talking about game 4?
Yeah, the last game.
Yeah.
It felt like a game that they could steal, but I was still thinking about last year when they failed to execute down the stretch. But they went up against an opponent who's been there for the first time, don't have the playoff experience, and they failed to execute down the stretch, even though Philly did screw up a couple of times.
Brooklyn could have evened up the series that in game 4, but they just I guess what y'all was saying is like you could tell in the youth like they weren't organized enough. The moment was a little bit too big. You could tell like they were just even D'Angelo Russell, like you could tell he was just trying to like let me just try to bury them as quickly as possible, not really set up anything. So, but that was the game. I was like, if Brooklyn gets this one, Philly's in trouble.
I wouldn't. They weren't going to be
not in trouble as far as losing the series, but Philly's in trouble as far as
the pressure.
The
pressure is now on Philly.
And how does that affect them? Because as you can see, even throughout this whole playoff series, like there's been stories and chatter and talks, and it's like it's not really looking good.
And especially, let's just say hypothetical. Brooklyn won game 4. They come into game 5, and Brooklyn starts off hot. That's that pressure that we're talking about, that proverbial pressure. So at the end of the day, again, this what was it? Q said that this don't mean nothing.
And I'll tell you what he said in a second. But
okay.
But yeah, I didn't get a chance to. It's nothing to watch tonight. No. But I gotta say, man, I was really impressed with Embiid because Jimmy got kicked out, and we know Jimmy's supposed to be fourth quarter for them.
Right.
But
Embiid stepped up. He stepped up.
Did you watch? So you watched the game?
Yeah, I watched. Yeah, he stepped up. He stepped up big time.
But
yeah, what'd you think,
MVP
B?
supposed to do, right? Like that isn't that what's supposed to happen?
What were some takeaways you had from that fourth quarter that you saw between like the two teams?
The fact that MD was kind of going down low a lot, which I hate when he kind of stays out in that 3-point area and be comfortable. He was aggressive and he was posting on the block like if he was Shaq or somebody. Like, look, you ain't gonna stop me down on his block, and I like he had that aggressive.
Did you see like how he kind of hesitated when they did leave him open at the top? Like, you could tell he kind of wanted to take it, but then he was like, nah, fuck it, let me. Yeah,
because he knew nobody couldn't stop him.
And
I'm glad he had that mentality.
That was like, okay, he grew, he's progressed because. They wanted him to shoot because they knew like this is the best opportunity for us to get a board and press, move in transition. Yeah. But now when he got on that block, they could not do anything. They couldn't do nothing. And I'm glad
he picked that up and was like, I'm about to just punish y'all down the block.
Yeah,
like, every time. So yeah, he stepped up. He stepped up and got aggressive. I'm like, all right, Embiid, I see you.
The one thing I noticed was that, and this is I gave him props, so I'm gonna be a little pessimistic on this one. But I noticed that if they played any other team, they would have got eaten up down that stretch because there was a lot of mistakes,
you talking
turnovers.
Top 4 or bottom 4?
Top 4, or even Indiana, they would have lost that game. That specific game. Don't even go there with that. That specific game, just for the fact of, did you see the turnovers they made? Like that's what I mean. Like Brooklyn was in that game.
Damn near looking like us.
Did you not see the turnovers that Indiana made against Boston?
No. Right. But Boston has more moving pieces than Philly does. When it comes to executing, yes, they do.
But that's what I'm talking about.
All we talked about was Philly is that they just throw it down.
But Nick, what I'm talking about is they failed to execute against Boston.
No, I'm saying, but Boston is different from Philly. That's what I'm saying. There's a different level.
But the teams are different, but the execution is the same, and it should be the same. So I think that it's that. I think they can I think they can capitalize more against Philly than against Boston. That's why Indiana fucked up a lot.
No, they did. But I expected that from that Boston team, and that with everything they got going with the coach down. I
think it's the playoffs more than the team. You think it's the team who they're playing against. I don't think it's who they're playing against.
Yep.
I think
and here's the thing, man. I've always said this. The good teams that are going to win or have an actual chance to win a championship, they impose their will. It doesn't matter what you want to do. You can do cutesy, whatever. You can mess me up for a game or a stretch or a quarter or whatever. But the way we play is how we are going to play. Me and you, my team and your team, because we're better than you. So this is how we're going to play. And part of what you guys are talking about, Embiid in the last game against Brooklyn is this is how we going to play. Yeah. Y'all can't stop. Think about it. In the rest of the playoffs, the rest of the teams that are going to be there, who has that?
Nobody.
Joker. No, just from a physical size perspective.
Joker?
That's it.
Okay.
From a physical size perspective. Think about it. Portland ain't got nobody else because Nurkic is out now. Boogie's out.
Yep.
Steven Adams isn't offensively sound.
Exactly. And he could dominate Steve Adams. Like, he put Steve Adams in the bucket. Who else? There ain't nobody in the East. Brook Lopez is big, but he's a soft guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He ain't gonna do nothing with Embiid down there. Who else in the East? Miles Turner was the best one, but he's more a perimeter power forward / center.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't nobody physically that can compete with Embiid in these playoffs.
Not even Ibaka or Gasol.
Nah,
Hell
nah.
no.
Hell nah.
No.
You about to put all them boys in the basket, man. So when Ken is talking about execution and what we seen Philly do last year, right? They look like Brooklyn. Moments a little too big. Oh, we're only down 2. Or let's not mess up. Oh shit, we messed up. We're too young.
Start speeding
You're
up.
Speeding up. What we're seeing from Philly is that maturation, in addition to the pieces that they brought, but that maturation from year over year. We're seeing that. You know what I'm saying? Now the thing is that they have to take that maturation year over year and take it from series to series. What did we learn in this series? And they can't take Brooklyn for granted. What are we taking away from this that we did well? What didn't we do well? And how do we take that against Toronto?
Yeah, and you know, better coach and Nick Nurse, obviously a champion, and Kawhi Leonard, a lot more pieces that work together. We're talking about the second best team in the East, you know. So the competition is going to be
it's going to get harder. It's going to get harder from this point.
Yeah, deep playoff vets on that squad too. When you're talking about
Danny
like
Green,
Ibaka.
Kawhi, Ibaka. You know, all of these guys have been to conference championships or higher.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, are we going to jump into Philly, Toronto? Or what did Q say before we jump?
Oh yeah. So Q, you know, said this game means absolutely nothing. I asked him what he meant, and he said Brett Brown still doesn't have a sophisticated offense. We're going to dump the ball down to Embiid. Toronto is going to shut down JJ, and we're going to be forced to run a half-court offense we do not have. It could get ugly if Simmons plays shy like he's used to doing.
Those are actually really good points, to be honest.
He knows it. That's his team.
Yeah,
So
that's his team.
Yeah.
Look, man, there's no team outside of the Golden State Warriors that have very few flaws, right? We know that. However, how good of a half-court offense you need when you have Shaq?
That is true, but I think when you have Ben Simmons, you don't always have to utilize Embiid. His usage rate is way too high.
But
Can y'all honestly say, and don't forget your point either.
Mm-hmm.
Can y'all honestly say who is this team constructed around?
Oh, it's Embiid.
Exactly.
Is it?
Yeah.
it's
Like, you
Embiid.
think it's constructed by somebody else?
No,
By
I'm
Butler?
saying like who's
the main guy? Who's the number one option?
who's a player that like this offense caters to?
It's Joel. Embiid.
Joel.
Because I've heard people say it could be Simmons as well.
But here's the thing though.
Because doesn't he set everything up? He's a setup.
But there's a so with that being said, right? Like Phoenix Suns in their heyday with Steve Nash and D'Antoni. Steve Nash was the focal point. He wasn't the best player. Amari Stoudemire.
That's what I was leading to.
But the thing was, because Steve Nash can, as a point guard, you can dominate without having to dominate the ball or scoring. You know what I'm saying? And Ben Simmons can do that, but the problem with Ben Simmons' game is that he can't shoot. So he doesn't keep the defense honest. So that's the reason why you can't technically really run the offense through Ben, and the offense has to go through.
You can play him a certain way. And
Exactly.
Still, keep him neutral.
So when it comes to if that's the point that I'm supposed to take away from it, then how can Ben Simmons, like, why is he so important that he has a good game night in, night out?
Well, you saw Ben and Embiid started to play off each other a lot more in games 3, 4, and I don't know what happened tonight. But when Embiid sat out Embiid sat out game 3, right? Mm-hmm. And Ben Simmons got off, remember? Mm-hmm. And he basically won that game for them. And I love the attitude that he showed. But when Embiid came back in game 4, they played off each other a lot. Ben would, they would give Embiid the ball, and Ben would cut to the basket, and a lot of that carried over from when Embiid was out in game 3. So what Brett Brown has to do, and I'm going back to the usage rate, is that because Ben can actually run the offense and be a focal point, he can sit Embiid down, and Q said this, yes, in stretches, and let Ben get off. Yep. And he just has to find a way to run more sets with both of them together.
But that's partly on Ben because, like you said, and I think that we've said it, is Ben has to stay aggressive, but that means different things at different times in the game because aggressive doesn't always mean score.
Right.
Like aggressive means create plays. And for Ben, sometimes he is passive, and that's not good for their offense because he can't shoot.
And I think it's Jimmy Butler because Jimmy Butler got ejected in that game, and Ben Simmons became the next man up. And it started to play a little bit more downhill. And what I liked from Embiid, Simmons was he started to check D'Angelo Russell, and he shut D'Angelo Russell down.
As he should.
As he should.
And that, I think, is the next evolution of Ben Simmons' game. I think there's two things that he needs to do to take a step so high that we're going to say he's the best point guard in the league.
Are you saying in these playoffs or just in future?
In the future. He needs to start showing it in these playoffs.
Yeah, I would
and
say
he needs to
now.
It needs to be his game come next season. So one of those things is playing lockdown defense on the point guard. Taking them completely out.
Reminded me of LeBron James the way he
That's
did
what I was about to
D-Lo.
say, like the LeBron effect when it comes to like I can
take
any guard.
Oh, you scored 6 in a row. Hey, coach, I got him. He needs to start becoming that. He needs to do that, and he needs to shoot more. You know what I'm saying? And again, to me, it's not about the makes or misses. It's the willingness to take the shots that you have to take because they're in the flow of the offense. He does those two things. We're talking about top 5 player next year. Simple as that.
Yeah, he can reclaim his throne.
My thing was, do they have enough time to figure all that out in these playoffs?
Nick.
That's what I'm asking because we
all
all
talk about time with Philly.
Because we just talked about it. It gets hard. B mentioned it. It gets harder from here, right? Competition gets stiffer. Do we have time for Ben Simmons to really rein himself in and figure it all out?
That's Brett Brown. Brett Brown's going to have to figure it's really going to be up. And I think he got parts of it now. Like, what I saw in this series, I saw a switch. I don't know if it's going to carry over. We got to see. But there was a switch that went off after his passive first game.
But to me, like, we can't put energy of players or mentalities of players on coaches. It's Brett Brown's job to make the adjustments.
I disagree.
Wait,
hold on. Let me finish my point.
Go ahead.
So, to me, it's on the coach to put your best players in opportunities to maximize what they do best, right? Like, when Ben Simmons is in the game, he got to play downhill. You can't space him out as a shooter. You can't always just put him in the post because that's lazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to figure out how to get this man downhill 9 out of 10 times, right? So, for me, that's more on Ben. But because the experience that you gained from years past, you have to apply in the moment. The stuff that Ben Simmons has gone through last year's playoffs, not being able to play his rookie year, all of those things you need to apply now.
The only retort I have to that, the one retort I have to that is Ty Lue when he got on LeBron James. And I think it was in the finals, and he told LeBron James, he was like, yeah, you need to step it up. Like, we need you to be aggressive. You ain't playing. You being very passive. And LeBron came out. He was a different man.
No, but it's, okay. So to me, that's coaching, right? Because there's only but so much you're gonna teach these superstars. You know what I'm saying? Like, what Tyler gonna teach LeBron? He's not gonna teach him nothing. But it is motivating, right? And it's pushing.
I guess that's what I was.
Yeah, that's the point.
So coaching is part motivation. But it's not the responsibility to make sure that your energy level and how you apply your experience is being utilized.
Yeah.
It's my job to put you in a place so that way you can do what you do, right? And it's also my job to push the button to make sure that you are engaged to do what I'm asking you.
Okay, so the do what you do part is where I look at Brett Brown, and that goes back to what are you going to do in terms of how you're going to rotate the guys in and out. How you gonna let Ben Simmons get a chance to be a player? Yeah, exactly.
And that's where I go with the time thing. It's because like we talked about before we even started the show, that Brett Brown, to give him some credit, he's had to do this on the fly. Like, he got damn near a whole new squad at the trading deadline, and now they were in playoff mode since then, basically. how much time with the series they're going into next. Because if it takes a couple games, they might go 1-1, they might go 0-2. Then the pressure gets added onto you again. That's what I'm saying. Like, how much time do they have for them to figure it out?
So here's the thing: who stays in the league and who gets gone first? Players or coaches?
Coaches.
So that's why when you bring up the notion of time, I'm looking at it from the player's perspective. It don't matter what Brett Brown does or doesn't do. Because guess what? He's on an extremely hot seat. He can't lose. He could lose in the second round, but he can't lose 4-0. He can't lose 4-1. And he damn sure can't get blown out 3-4 times in that series, right? But if they go game 7 and it's a last-second miracle shot by Kawhi Leonard, he got his job. So to me, the time factor is about having Embiid and Simmons healthy. That's the time that they have to make a championship run. Doesn't matter about Brett Brown.
So
they could go get somebody else next year.
So would you say? So you don't think this is their best chance to get a championship with this team?
Oh, I think they can win this year.
They can win this year.
I don't know if
but
they will.
This is not their best chance. Because remember, Golden State is not going to be Golden State in years in the future.
But there's going to be other super teams formed in the next few years.
If they keep this roster together,
that's a big if.
Okay, fine.
I think
keep 3. All they need is 3. They don't need 4. They just need 3.
And let's just say it's Tobias Harris.
Yeah, they just need 3, bruh. 3 and JJ or 8 JJ Redick.
That's enough. That's enough to get out the East and win a chip.
Yes.
With Embiid?
Yes.
The most unstoppable force in the NBA? And
yes.
what he said he was? And he's proven it so far.
Ain't no big man more physical than him.
You saw that game. You saw him every time, 8 straight.
He was going against, what's his name?
Jared Allen. It don't matter, bro.
He's going against
Jared Allen. How many blocks and dunks Jared Allen's blocked this season? He been blocked everybody.
Yeah, no, he's good on one end, but outside of that, like with how skillful Embiid is,
okay,
it
was like Dikembe and Shaq. Remember, Dikembe was Defensive Player of the Year. They made it to the finals. And what Shaq do to that man?
But go ahead, B.
Noticing he abused him.
Yeah, and what did FIFO ask? Who in the East got something that can match up with him? Nobody. So what you expect is gonna happen?
Maybe Giannis.
Giannis would have.
Giannis won't.
No, Giannis needs another 50 pounds, bro.
He can't bang up with
He
can't guard Embiid, bro.
Not on the post. Now, if Embiid's all out on the 3-point line,
I was just talking about like what weapon do we got to match that?
You can't. Nobody can match Embiid in the post.
So you think Embiid is better than Giannis?
That's not what we're saying.
Yeah, that's not what we're saying.
We're saying that they don't have anybody in the East right now that can stop Embiid in the playoffs.
Just like I said, remember, I want to say it was like a month ago. It was definitely before the playoffs. I said that the most unstoppable player in the East to me was Kyrie. Doesn't mean he's the best player in the East. Just mean you can't stop him. Yeah, what you going to do to stop him?
Yeah, I think there are 3 while we're on this. I think there are 3. Yeah, it's Embiid, Giannis, and Kyrie. They just play different positions. So nobody
they want.
You
not
can't.
Kawhi?
Nah. Kawhi's not unstoppable. Kawhi's not unstoppable. Okay. Kawhi, you can slow him down. Where Kawhi is unstoppable is defensively. Like he's the claw. He's literally the claw. Like he could go shut your best guy down or slow him down and do all of that. But offensively, it's not like he can go off for 40, but it's not the same type of Kyrie 40, Giannis 40, Embiid 40, James Harden 40, KD 40. It's not the same. It's not demoralizing.
Yeah, it's like a San Antonio paper cut till you bleed out.
Keep cutting you. I'm gonna keep dinking and dunking. I'm gonna hit this little fadeaway.
So let me ask you this. Giannis he's small forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kawhi small forward.
Mm-hmm.
Kawhi can't check
Hell
Giannis?
nah. I'm gonna tell you,
is Giannis a 3 or is he a flexible 4?
He is the skill set of a 3, but the body of 3, 4, 5.
B, you've been talking about Giannis for years now. Kawhi can't check. Can Kawhi check Giannis?
He can check him. I mean, he can probably do somewhat of a good job.
The best job in the league. But that's it.
I don't know. Let's not forget Kawhi was putting some clamps on Durant that championship.
And LeBron.
He put clamps on
Durant.
Durant.
Kawhi though. That was a younger Kawhi.
He put clamps on Durant when he got hurt.
Yeah. I'm saying, like in the same playoffs, Kawhi when he won Finals MVP, he shut down. I ain't gonna say shut down, but he contained Durant and LeBron in that same playoff
Look,
run.
look,
So
LeBron
can
still
he,
got
can
20
he
I
get? So
think-
can he get Giannis?
I think he probably could
I don't
because
think so.
Giannis can't do what like LeBron can do.
But all right, so let's measure the impact, right? Like of what a
And, like,
defender means.
look how scary Durant is. Like,
I
Giannis
feel
don't
you.
have the range. Like
no, he
Durant.
don't. He don't.
So that's
he
what
don't.
I'm saying.
He don't.
So
But here's the thing,
he's,
though.
Giannis is a little more one dimensional than Durant.
He is
and
1,000%. 1,000%.
That's,
1,000%.
as a defender, that's kind of
Just don't put him in your
as a
don't
defender.
make him
Alright,
uncomfortable.
for
Don't
sure,
put him in
but-
your spots.
I'm just saying, like,
when
as
you,
a player.
but when you damn near 7'1" with like a 7'8" wingspan, and you can just literally jump damn near from the free throw line.
Kevin Durant, Chris
Durant
Paul.
is like 1 inch.
But it's different though because you know what
Durant is
Durant's
like
gonna do.
1 inch shorter.
I feel you, but Durant plays with a different level of ferocity. Like Durant is more his ferocity comes from the dribble pull up in your mouth. Doesn't matter what the defense is doing. I'm gonna pull up. Giannis is one dribble. I'm yamming on your whole squad. There's just a different level of physicality that Giannis plays with
I
that
understand.
none of those other guys that we're talking about, perimeter guys, play with. Giannis is the most physical perimeter guy in the NBA right now, outside of LeBron.
And Kawhi can't lock him down.
And-
What do you
That's
mean
what
by
we're
lockdown?
talking about.
and that's what I wanted to get to. Let's define lockdown because in that series that B's talking about, LeBron still put up numbers.
but it was just
It was harder. You
Or
know what I'm
just
saying?
crucial moments, like when
Or
if they
crucial
needed a
moments and
bucket.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
like Dumars put the clamps on Jordan, but he didn't
didn't
shut him down. You know, like but he had Jordan was probably still scored 32 points, but he probably was like 8 for 26 or some shit
Nah,
like
I
that.
feel
You know what I'm saying?
I
like
feel you.
he
It-
didn't shut him down.
So with the whole, I'll put it to you like this: Kawhi physically is the best matchup for Giannis. But it's really gonna come down to Bud versus Nick Nurse, because
So you trying to?
no, I'm not. No, I'm not at all. Here's the thing: my money is on Giannis doing what he wants
Let's
to do.
change the subject.
I'm not at all. I'm tackling it straightforward. My money is on Giannis getting 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 or 5 assists a game. I don't think Kawhi stops that or slows it down.
He might get that, but probably in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, Kawhi can probably make it very difficult for him to get in position.
And
And then you look at his numbers, you be like, oh yeah, damn, Giannis got off. But what happened in the
yeah,
last 3
it's the
minutes?
And doesn't-
context.
yeah,
It's
doesn't
not the
Giannis
numbers,
have-
it's the
yeah.
context.
Doesn't Giannis have to chase him down on the other end too, or does
Nah,
somebody
not
else?
really.
They
No,
switch.
because you got to look at Milwaukee's roster. They got a lot of
Right,
guys
they got a
that
lot
they
of guys
can
that
throw.
can, yeah.
Giannis don't have to be like, I'm checking you the whole game.
right,
I
right.
got to shut you. Nah.
Now he'll probably want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would
But-
expect him to.
But as a coach, you know what I'm saying? You know, you can't always let the dogs loose. You got to corral them a little bit. You know what I'm saying? He ain't ready yet. You know what I'm saying? You keep talking that shit, I'm gonna let this motherfucker go now.
Hey,
That's part of coaching.
LeBron D Rose. We saw what happened.
We saw, but that was
He
different
asked for
too.
him though, didn't he?
No, he did, but that was
Alright.
different too because he had the Wade and Bosh. He knew. LeBron knew I can sell myself
Giannis
out.
old school. Giannis gonna want to shut him down if he needs to. But anyway,
but Coach Bud also understands. I need you to have gas in the tank, bro, because you don't own.
we're talking about those critical stretches, like 2 minutes
Okay.
or something like that. But all right, so let's go through what we got so far. So Boston, Indiana, we already know what happened there. Indiana obviously missed Oladipo, late game execution, killed them. They were leading by double digits in damn near every single game, and just couldn't hold on. Kyrie was
unstoppable.
amazing.
How y'all feel about that
Unstoppable.
Boston Indy series? Because I have
It was a bye.
I don't know if it was a bye. I think it was more than that because even though they
was it?
swept them, that was like you mentioned. Indy was like really in those games until like the latter half, and to me it was just like it was more of like Boston having to fine tune what everybody expected them to have
At
at the
any
beginning of
given
the season.
moment, did you think Indiana had a shot at holding on to any of those leads?
No.
I never felt
Alright.
that way. And
Not because I trust Kyrie. I feel like Kyrie gonna make it right
to answer
anytime.
your
They were never a
question,
threat.
Even in the Isaiah Thomas years, Boston would always be down, and they would somehow, some way figure out how to come back and win. That I think that's Brad Stevens' MO now. I think we just have to accept that of him as a coach. He doesn't necessarily play with a lead. He's typically down, and he out executes, and the guys reach down deep and pull it out. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I didn't learn anything new outside
Same old Boston
of
to me.
same old Boston, except that I felt that Kyrie took it to another level. I felt that it wasn't like Kyrie's like, oh yeah, y'all guys are doing what y'all doing. Let me turn up and save the day. It felt like Kyrie was playing hard offensively and defensively for 4 quarters.
Which, in my opinion, I think going into the second round, the most interesting matchups that I'm be watching is Milwaukee against Boston, and assume that Houston finish out this series. Houston against Golden State in the second round. Those are the two most intriguing matchups that I am going to look forward to.
Are those the final? Whoever wins those goes to the finals.
Yes. I think so.
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
I think so. I think Boston and Milwaukee, whoever wins that series, come out the East, and I think Golden State Rockets, they coming out the West.
So let me put a caveat to that. I don't think Toronto's coming out the East. And
I don't think so either.
That's what I'm saying.
Who is it?
No.
It's about Kyle Lowry.
If Toronto beats Philly and they play Boston, you know what I'm saying, or what? Toronto's not making it. It's 2 words. Kyle Lowry. Bro, that dude's a bum, dog. Like, yo.
He ain't a bum.
He's a bum.
He a playoff bum, but he ain't a bum.
Hey, look, man. What year we in? Hold on, let me check the year.
2019.
I give Kyle Lowry 3, maybe 4 years.
Damn.
You talking about out the league? You always acting like
he always.
he like you the.
What year is it? Yeah. About 3, 4.
Look, I forgot who said this, but they said there are 82 game players and there are 16 game players.
Oh yeah, 1,000.
Kyrie is a 16 game player, and that's why
is.
you saw him looking different.
That's why he was so frustrated throughout the regular season. He was like, bro, I'm just ready to get this shit over with.
And you know what? In all honesty, I mean, he had to win those games for Boston.
Oh yeah,
because they still that's what I'm saying.
They don't have it.
Like the first
and
game,
he loves that. I think he loves that.
He loves it, but that's why I'm still somewhat concerned because that's why I say they still look like the same Boston.
That's why I was asking you how did y'all feel about that series? Because it looks like, oh yeah, Boston should have swept them, right? But it's in those nuggets of the game of those games, I felt like I like what I'm seeing, but something may be off. We might see that second round.
Tatum was special too.
Tatum was really good. He finally showed up.
He was. So to me, what Boston is missing, they're missing that third guy because we know what Kyrie was gonna be, especially come playoff time. We knew this is the Kyrie that we was gonna get. Box office. He came to play. You can't stop me. You can't stop me. That whole squad can't stop me. He proved it. Jason Tatum upped this game.
Mm-hmm.
Al Horford's Al Horford. Because there were some games I think he only scored there was one game he had 4 points. He had 10 rebounds and 6 assists. Very Al Horford-ish. But they need that third guy. And it wasn't Gordon Hayward consistently, and it was not Jaylen Brown consistently. And they're going to need one of those 2 guys to step up and be like, Kyrie, I see you. Jaylen, I see you. Let me get these crumbs. Because they all mine. Ain't nobody else getting it.
Because outside of Tatum and Kyrie, everybody else kind of struggled to make shots.
They was rotating like Marcus Smart. Marcus Morris. He came out.
He had stretches.
I think the first game he came out and he was hot.
It was the first.
But I missed that first game.
It was the second game. It was one of those.
It was early. It was early in the series.
But I watched the remaining 3 because I remember I kind of disagreed with what you guys were saying the last time we were on, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. And I watched it. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what y'all saw in that first game where y'all disagreed with me. Y'all thought that they were back, and I'm like, nah, they still look like because I was like, they only scored 81 points. Like, what are y'all talking about?
No, they're different because I think the Marcus Smart injury may help them more than hurt them because Terry Rozier is getting those minutes. And I think he's going to end up I think this is the role that he always he wanted this amount of minutes.
Did you see all those bricks he was throwing up?
Yeah, but that's because he hasn't had that much chance to play like that in a long time.
Terry was horrified.
Since the last playoffs, he hasn't had those substantial amount of minutes before.
It don't matter,
He's the clear backup behind Kyrie.
It don't matter. That's what he does, and that's what he did last year. It's the playoffs. He looked terrible. They need Marcus Smart.
I thought this was a tune-up series.
Nah. I saw problems.
What do you see?
Boston is not back. Their offense struggled against Indiana. What the hell are you going to do against Milwaukee? Now, they rise up to the level of competition, so I think they will be competitive in these games. But if they go through an offensive stretch where they can't score like they did against Indiana, I don't foresee in Boston or Milwaukee blowing a 12-point lead.
And what's funny is last year Milwaukee took them to 7. Granted, it was without Kyrie or Gordon Hayward, but it was also with Milwaukee having an interim head coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they fired. I forgot who was it.
J Kidd.
Oh, J Kidd was. Okay,
Yeah,
damn.
J.K. was the coach.
I feel like that
No,
was
they fired J Kidd. I don't know who the intern was. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I thought J Kidd was been gone by that time. But now that they got Bud,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're even better than they were before.
And deeper.
Mhm.
Does it go 7 or does it end earlier? Because I still got more. I told you I got my pick for the finals is Golden State, Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm. I put it to you like this: it ain't going 5. I know that for damn sure. It's gonna be a 6 or 7 game series.
Giannis got to show us something.
He
This is
do.
Giannis' moment. This is the moment that me and FIFO
I'm not worried about Giannis this year.
Yeah, I'm not. You know, honestly, here's the thing: I'm not worried about Giannis in this series
in this series.
because I'm more so worried about Giannis against a Kawhi. You know what I'm saying? Against a Jimmy. You know what I'm saying?
It's a
I'm
good
not worried because he gonna put Jason Tatum wherever the hell he want to put. They don't physically have a guy that's gonna go do anything against Giannis.
Kind of would be.
Really?
Yeah,
would
We
be.
don't?
I don't think Boston has like. Now here's the thing.
So now
Again,
you're not questioning Giannis? We've been
No,
questioning
no,
Giannis
no,
all
no,
no,
the
no.
season.
I'm not questioning him against that
Flip-flop
particular
If-
squad.
I'm questioning him. I'm
I-
questioning him. I gotta see.
I understand.
Giannis got to show me something this Boston series. He got to show me something. He's gonna have to. What's this? Would you say FIFO 3 to 5? Like this? What's his year 5 for him? He gonna have to take this shit to the next level.
Want to
Like,
be
I-
the MVP?
Like I
He
said,
said
beginning of the
wanna be.
season. Like I said, beginning of the season, it's Eastern Conference Finals or it got to be that. Like he has to.
Yeah, he can't lose in the second round.
He can't lose this
He
round.
can't lose in the second
So
round.
he got to show me something this series. I'm sorry.
I
He got
have-
to show me something.
I don't know why, but I have confidence in him that he's gonna prevail.
do?
And because
you're right. I hope
because of
you're
the
right.
marriage between him and the coach,
I hope
and
you're
like
right.
how Coach Bud has kind of, I feel
hope
like he's
y'all right.
done a really good culture change in that
In
that system in that
I
city.
hope y'all right.
Everybody's bought in,
Mhm.
and I love it.
I don't think it's the marriage. I think it's Giannis' attitude, and I think Giannis wants
Wants-
to go against
yeah.
Kyrie.
Yeah.
But don't put no disrespect on my guy Bud's name.
Oh, I look.
because it
I
it
think I
has.
was the first one that said we need to show Milwaukee love on the show.
But I've been big on Bud. But either way, right? I think that that relationship, right, between those two and what Coach Bud has been able to do in one season there. It's not like he's been there 2
Exactly.
years. One season. Them boys look like the 60-win Atlanta Hawk team with a superstar. That's what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Bud is the best disciple that Popovich has ever had. Let's be honest. So let's give him credit there.
Do you count Steve Kerr as a pop disciple?
No, because he wasn't an assistant coach there.
Okay.
He was a pupil. He was a student. So it's a little different. But to me, Bud and what he's been able to do and how he's been able to maximize Giannis and put Giannis in championship type positions, meaning that he's a downhill player too, right? A lot like Ben Simmons, right?
Man, he
Dude.
looked a lot like LeBron on some of the things that I
He
saw.
d-
I was
he
like,
did.
God dang.
He did. But all I'm saying is that's a lot of Coach Bud putting this guy saying, you can't shoot. Don't worry about it, dog. I got you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they're leaving you open. Don't worry about it. I got you.
But he's taking them.
No, he is taking them. Yeah, that's not Giannis's problem.
I know. Yeah.
He'll take the open shot even if he'll clank 4 or 5.
I like the fact that he's taking them,
Taking 'em.
whereas, you know,
Exactly.
when,
But mentally and even game wise, he's a couple of years ahead of Ben Simmons. Where Ben
yeah,
Simmons
no,
is
he
at.
is. He is.
You know, so it is what it is. But to me, that marriage, why it's so important, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Nick, is because that's what takes certain players to the next level. That's what takes them to, like, Jordan wouldn't be Jordan without Phil. You know what I'm saying? Kobe wouldn't be Kobe without Phil. A lot of these guys need that coach, you know what I'm saying, to take those guys over the top, to put them in positions to win. You know what I'm saying? Look at AI. AI was great. You know what I'm saying? Box office, spectacular. But he wouldn't have made any finals. He wouldn't have been an MVP, and I'm the biggest AI guy because a lot of my game came from him. He wouldn't be who he was if it wasn't for Larry Brown.
Mhm.
It is what it is, and Coach Bud is going to be instrumental in Giannis' success in these playoffs.
So you got Bucks and 6.
7, because I ain't disrespecting Kyrie like that.
7.
I ain't disrespecting Kyrie. But okay, y'all
So
gonna
the
see.
home
Y'all
court-
gonna
so
see.
home court. Oh, I'm not questioning Kyrie.
Yeah,
I'm not,
you know what? It's
yeah.
not even the home court. It's not even that. I just think that when I look at Milwaukee versus Boston, Milwaukee has more experienced guys than Boston has. You know, like let's be honest. Yeah, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, but y'all was still babies. Y'all still had Simmons behind.
And that was their first time.
That was their first time.
So it don't even mean much.
It don't mean much. Like, you had way too much success too early. That don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Malcolm Brogdon come back?
They don't even need him for to beat Boston.
You don't think so?
Really?
They don't.
So that's one thing. Like,
Sterling Brown playing pretty well.
It's not Kyrie versus Giannis. My mentality is it's Milwaukee versus Boston. That's why when you said 6, I'll respect the respect I'll give to Kyrie, which will extend to Boston, is 6. But really, I think it could be 5.
I don't know about that. I don't know, and the reason why I don't know about that,
because
you think Milwaukee just in the group?
I think I've been high on Milwaukee. I don't know what game it was, but since then it's been like a few months now that I've been bringing up, like, y'all got to keep mentioning Milwaukee, because right now that's what I'm saying. I'm not really worried about Giannis, and it may be because of the support of Coach Bud, but the way they're clicking and have bought in, even Eric Bledsoe is like,
he's playing at a different level.
He always had the talent.
No, he's always had the talent, but he's never reined it in. Yeah,
he's doing. Look, the reason why I'm looking at this series and I think it'll go 6 or 7 is because, as good as Milwaukee is, they don't have the firepower, like, to put a Boston team just completely away.
But defensively, they don't need to do that.
But again, you're not gonna just shut down Jason Tatum. You know what I'm saying? In 7, let's say hold on now.
Okay.
If they play 7 games, right? My expectation of a superstar is you show up on 6 or 7 games. You human. You can have a game off. It happens. You know what I'm saying? If you're an all-star, you got to show up in 5 of those games. You're a role player. You know what I'm saying? I just need you 1 or 2. So to me, Jason Tatum is borderline all-star. So he got to show up 3 to 5 games. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Milwaukee can take him out 3 to 5. I think he's gonna do what Jason Tatum does in 3 or 4 of those games.
You guys mentioned Boston as far as, and we joked about it, as far as who is their 1 and 2, right? Remember we had that conversation. We were going through the teams, and me and Ken was saying it's Kyrie and it's Irving. We can't say the same thing about Milwaukee. Milwaukee has some boys. We just mentioned 2 of them, right?
But the drop-off is so huge.
It is, but so is the same in Boston.
No, it's not.
You think Jason Tatum ain't that far from Kyrie?
What I'm saying is
Jason Tatum's not that far from Chris Middleton.
Exactly. Jason Tatum, his potential, and also what we seen in last year's playoffs versus what we're seeing in this year's playoffs, and Chris Middleton's been in the league 8 years now. This is his Jason Tatum's 2nd year.
I give you potential. Potential Jason Tatum can be, but for right now, I'll choose
They're
Chris
probably
Middleton.
about the same, bro.
Thank you.
I think Chris Middleton's more consistent than y'all give him credit.
Not in these the year 82 or 16. What we talking about? Because we talking 16. Jason Tatum look like he's a step above Chris Middleton to me. That's what my eyes tell me.
He helped close out that big run they went on in game 2, I think. When in the 4th quarter, it was Kyrie and Jason Tatum, and Jason Tatum had the ball in his hands late in that game, and he made. Not only he made a lot of smart plays.
I like this progression, and this is what I was hoping to see all season from Jason Tatum was this past playoff series.
So you got him in 5.
Well, I said 6, but if I wouldn't be surprised if it ended 5.
B, what's your number? And who?
I say this series might go 7. I say Milwaukee in 7.
I think Nick has cursed the Bucks.
Celtics.
I ain't like you picking the Lakers go to the finals.
I something off with Boston still. And I don't know if Kyrie can win 4 games by himself.
That's what I'm saying. Like, at least with.
So can Kyrie win? So we got to get the 4.
Kyrie got to be all 7. Like,
can Tatum get him 1? Kyrie get him 2. Where does that 4th game come from? I don't know. Give me Milwaukee in 6.
The fourth game comes from what I pointed out.
The role
before.
players.
Yeah.
The team.
Gordon Hayward or Jalen
But you-
Brown.
Yeah,
but
Gordon
you
Hayward
haven't
could get
seen
one.
that. So what makes you think it will happen?
Gordon Hayward had
Well,
a good game in that
No, I'm
closeout
saying
game.
consistently. He said Gordon
But
Hayward's
he
an
only-
all-star,
He
right?
said he only need one.
Exactly.
But you said, but he's an all-star, right?
No. Who?
Gordon Hayward.
Hell no, not this year.
He's not all-star caliber.
He's a role player. He comes off the bench, bro.
He's a role player now?
No. He's been downgraded.
Yeah.
When they signed him, he was an all-star. The injury done downgraded him.
He had
It
an
happens.
injury. He
He'll
just
co-
got
he'll be
back.
happens,
He'll be
though.
back next year. Right now, he's a role player.
Yeah, he's a role player. And remember when Miami got the big three, and Mike Miller was their first role player?
Yeah.
Remember? Well, I can't remember who they played, but I remember he had that one big. The man hit like 6 or 7.
Oh, when he lost his shoe.
When he lost his shoe and all that.
The shoe game.
Your role players, you just need one game. Look, bro. If we go 7 games and you suck in the first 6,
Shane Battier had one. Yeah.
Your role players got to show up one game, bro. And if they show up one game, Boston can win. I'm gonna pick the Bucks in 7, the best team in the NBA, best record. I think the best player in the NBA. So it's hard to go against that. Plus, I think arguably right now the best coach. You know what I'm saying? It's
In the or in the East.
In the NBA for this season.
I just don't think they have an answer for Giannis.
I don't either. My heart wants Boston to win.
Really?
I love Kyrie.
You love Kyrie.
I
Yeah,
love
that's
Kyrie.
what.
Want the same thing, but I'm just thinking about reality, and like I just see so much that Milwaukee checks off that Boston doesn't for me. Like outside of like you take Kyrie and take Giannis off, who's got the better team overall?
So basically, what you're saying is going to come down to the coach.
I think they're probably even.
Really?
Yep. I think they're probably
talent-wise, yes.
Yeah.
So it comes down to coaching.
Who do you trust more, Brad Stevens or Bud?
Bud, just because he has more experience. He's
when
been
you
there,
do
done
what
that.
you did with that Atlanta Hawks team, bro.
Yeah, that says a lot.
And again, here's another. That's
That's
another
why you-
question.
that's
Exactly.
why
That's
you-
what I'm
that's
like.
why you
If you have the best player in the series, which Giannis is, we can all agree to that, and you have, to FIFO's point, the coach of the year.
Yeah.
Kyrie is a champion. He hit one of the biggest shots
Ever.
in NBA playoff history.
I agree. I love Kyrie too.
You gotta respect.
But we gotta be. But you ain't even pick him. So
I've been down on Boston all year though, so this is not new for me. But I'm with B. Giannis, woo, he better because I've been slow. I've been slow to rise to the brother.
You
but
know what? I do want to talk about this OKC Blazers series.
That's up next.
Yeah, on a couple of different levels.
It's on the screen, so that's why FIFA
Yeah,
brought it
that-
up.
Okay,
yeah,
we can skip to that because that wasn't up next.
They play tonight?
Yeah,
they
they
play
might.
now.
So on a couple different levels, I've been seeing Colin Cowherd talking about and Chris Broussard, what's Russell Westbrook's legacy gonna be? Because it ain't gonna be winning. Let's be honest. He hasn't got past.
What
the
is
second-
that cemented yet?
Define winning for me,
Yeah.
please.
Well, conference championships at least. Winners at least get to the conference championship.
Post KD.
He hasn't been out of the second round. Post.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think we need to
Yeah, post KD because this
okay.
is Russ' team now. Russ has his
Okay.
own team. It's not. You know what I'm saying? Even though Paul George is up there, he played at an MVP level for a big stretch of this year.
So we're gonna hold this against his resume. We're gonna hold.
That's what.
against it?
That's what I want to have.
Uh-huh.
Like, if you're gonna have this conversation, let's have it. So,
Mhm.
with where he is at now and where we predict them getting bounced out either this game or the next game, right? And that's gonna be what 3 years in a row. He's got knocked out the first round. How? You've already said that you don't see him going ever further than what, second round?
It depends on the team they put around him.
All right,
Because,
hold it. Yeah.
because here's the thing, right? Like every superstar has a talent that you can't coach, you can't describe, kinda, that it just what makes him special. And what makes Russell Westbrook special is number one, his energy and his ferocity. It don't matter who's on the court. It could be Zion Brown dunking through you, I'm running through you. Like he's the perfect running back. Like
Okay.
if you wanted a running back, that's who you want, right?
All right.
And with that being said, if his talent is the ability to get to the basket, converge defenses, what builds on that skill set? Shooting.
Mm-hmm.
When you kick out, right, and your first pass is Paul George, oh shit, you got to guard that. You can't leave Paul George.
Yeah, that's a good
Who's
pass.
the second guy? Jeremy Grant? And I love Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, you do.
I love Jeremy
He's
Grant.
progressed a lot.
A lot. He's hit the ceiling that I knew he could hit. You know what I'm saying? But come on, if Jeremy Grant is your second or third best shooter, you don't have a championship team. Not based off of a duo. Remember, they don't have 3 All-Stars. They have 2 All-Stars. Yeah. And one of them, the main All-Star, the superstar, right, Russell Westbrook, his main catalyst is being able to get to the rim and create. The second All-Star is more of a smoother, can finish off of the pass, can kind of create for. He has a little bit of everything. He got mid-range game, 3-point game, right? So that's what you want to complement Russ, but you need more shooters. And if they don't get more shooters, they can't win.
All right, so now that you said all that, and I totally agree with you, how, as basketball guys, are we going to hold him accountable with that roster?
Well, here's the thing. At the end of the day, your record is your record, regardless of. And
I understand that.
And in context, and you know that I'm not one of those people that says, "Oh, Russ is whack and this, that." No.
There's an overrated question here.
Yeah, and I don't think he's overrated. I just think that as great as of a job that Sam Presti has done, based off of how they're constructed, now he needs to do a better job. But at the end of the day, that record is going to be held against Russ. The record
is the record, and oftentimes when it comes to talking about teams in historical context, we often leave out the makeup of the team. We just look at the record.
Yeah, we look at the record.
Yeah. But we're basketball guys, and we can look at this team, and we can say we can either see a first round exit team or a second round exit team, but more than likely,
not a championship.
They're
team.
A first round exit team. We definitely not a championship.
It came down to matchups because I think they could beat Utah.
Okay,
but
they lost to Utah last year.
They did lose to Utah.
Maybe it was Melo's fault.
All right, come on.
I thought we was call it a comeback.
Beanie Melo, a.k.a. Beanie Mac.
So I guess for me, man, like, look, I like both of these guys. We talked about it earlier. Somebody was going to lose, and it was going to be painful either way. Because I love both. And I want them to succeed. I just think it's going to be unfair for people to criticize Russ for losing in this first round.
It's not unfair.
With that team.
It's not unfair. If it's 3 times in a row, it's not unfair.
But you know what?
I'm talking about those teams, man. Those teams are not.
But Ken, you know what it is? You know what's putting the cherry on top?
His play?
Dame's outplaying him.
Okay. So criticizing his play is fair, but I think okay. So let me back up. Let me ask you this, Dan. If he would have played better, a la LeBron, and still lost, do we look at it differently then? Because it's still a first round exit.
No. Like there's context, right? Just like with LeBron losing however many times in the final, there's some context there. You can say, oh, well, he can't be on the same level with Jordan. Yeah, he can. Yeah, he ain't go perfect. But some of those losses, come on, bro. Like, what was he supposed to do? It is what is context.
The criticism is he's playing like shit.
But no, that's the criticism.
He's been shooting like that all year.
That's the criticism because of the
we've
result.
Highlighted on this show.
My thing is, it's kind of bad that he's playing the Blazers because Dame is a more reined in Russell Westbrook to me. As far as he has the same, I got
a better one.
He has the same motor. He has the same, like, he ain't scared of nobody. He's a dog, right? We all recognize him as a dog. But he knows when to pick his spots. Russ can let the moment take over him. And we've seen that. That's why I said if it happens, it's not unfair because it's 3 years in a row that we've seen Russ either unhinged or he is not doing
Was
what.
he unhinged last year?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I guess when what's his name?
Rubio started going at him?
Yeah.
Bro, the white boys was getting to that whole OKC team, bro.
Yeah, Joe Ingles got at Paul George.
Rubio.
Well, let's not. Okay, so we got to look at Paul George too. Let's not act like he out there balling.
And he is, but we're focused on the best player on the team right now.
And at one moment, wasn't that Paul George? We said it on this show.
For a stretch.
All right, so I think we should hold them both.
But whose team is it, Ken? Whose team? Every team has the face of the team, and the face of OKC, even when Paul George was going through his stretch, is still Russell Westbrook.
Just like with Golden State and Steph. That's Steph's team. KD may be the best player.
Yep.
That's still Steph's
team.
The Bucks stop with Steph.
This team, let me ask you guys this. Are they better when PG is the focal point?
Yes. in my opinion.
But okay, so yes, but that doesn't diminish Russ because the position that Russ plays
So important.
is a point guard, and you have to be able. Like, it was like I want to say it was maybe 3 years ago, but definitely 2 years ago, when CJ really started to ascend, and he said, "You know what, man? I have to give so much props to Dame because Dame is already established in this league. If Dame says give me the ball, everybody's giving him the ball, but he's like he allows me to cook. You know what I'm saying? Because that is part of the point guard's job is to make sure that everybody's getting.
All right, now can I stop you right
Go
there?
ahead.
Because I think that point is also where I was going to go because when they were playing, when they were the third seed in the West, it was when Paul George was the focal point and Westbrook was B when he was deferring to him. Post All-Star, when Paul George hurt his shoulder, I don't know what happened, but we saw a switch. Westbrook started to become the more aggressor, and he couldn't contain himself, and he lost focus, and Paul George became B.
But here's the
and their record hasn't been as good.
But here's the thing, Ken. It's kind of like the point that I was making with Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and I'm adding to your point actually.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I know. But the reason why Phoenix was good was because of Steve Nash, right? But their best quote unquote player, the focal point, quote unquote, like who we want to get buckets was Amari.
That was an amazing pass.
You know what I'm saying? It was Amari. So the thing is, and this has been my gripe with Russell Westbrook, you know, it basically is his entire career, is that he needs a coach to be able to rein him in because in those moments.
Glad you went there.
I was going to go there.
And remember when we talked about before the playoffs started, and me and you specifically, Nick, we were talking about who would we rather have. And I said, in this series, I'm taking Portland because in the last minute and a half, who am I trusting? I'm trusting Dame. I'm not trusting Russ with critical moments. And I don't think that it's all Russ because you got to take the good and the bad. But the coach has to be able to get him to understand certain aspects of the game. And that wasn't, I want to say
Scott Brooks.
Scott Brooks. It wasn't Scott Brooks, and it hasn't been Billy Donovan. He need, and I've said it years ago, they need Mark Jackson.
Yeah,
Russell Westbrook
How many
needs a point guard head coach, and not Scott Brooks, a point guard head coach that has some respect as a point guard. And that's no disrespect to Scott Brooks in his playing days, but come on, man, Mark Jackson is still top 5, top 6 in assists.
And my thing is, to go off of this, and I'm going to come back to this topic, but, like, how long are we going to just sit back and let the NBA not really look at Mark Jackson as an option? Because we've mentioned him for multiple teams, and it's like, what did he do?
Think he want to coach? Maybe
I think he want to coach.
He said it.
If your name is being brought up that much, that means somebody's asking you questions.
He was
like,
on
hey,
Stephen A. Smith's show, and he actually said it. He loves what he's doing now, but he wants to coach.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm wearing it back is because I've always said I did not like Billy Donovan. I think he's a loan shark disguised as a head coach because all he's doing is just taking OKC's money because he doesn't elevate what they have. And even though I know we all don't recognize this team as a championship contender, but they should be a lot better than a first round exit. That's a team like Indiana. That's a team, especially 3 years in a row.
Not with that roster.
Yeah, exactly.
Not with
They
that
should be
roster.
at least in the second round.
Not
Should
with
they
that
not?
roster, Nick.
Are you serious?
Not with that roster, bro.
But matchups too, though.
And
The West is definitely predicated on matchups because think about if OKC played Denver. I think they can get Denver.
And
You said they can get Utah. That's already two teams out the
think
West.
They could get Utah.
They could have got Clip, the LA Clip. That's
They
three
could
teams.
exactly, but it's matchups.
matchups. And I think these teams are even. So when you have two stars, superstars, whatever you want to call them, when you got two elite players like Dame, CJ, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and every other player on both sides of the roster are pretty much even to me. What do you go to next? For me, I go to Billy Donovan, Terry Stotts. Terry Stotts has done a far better job of coaching in the NBA, and wasn't he coach of the year once? Than Billy Donovan. And you wasn't on the program. I was right along with you wherever you were, because I wanted Billy Donovan fired year 2, and they all kind of jumped up. They just wanted to give him more time than I did.
Was that the year that he lost the 3-1 the lead?
Oh man, I wanted to fire him in the regular season
Oh, okay.
because it was something. Yeah, but it don't matter. I was like, nah, he gotta go. I think I was firing everybody that year.
Man,
But
George is feeling it right
Yeah,
now.
But yeah,
I
I
was
was
not
like-
trying to go home.
Nah, they gonna
Man.
get
said,
this
"Fuck a
one. Yeah.
vacation."
Man,
but
They gonna get
I'm
this
trying
one.
to- You gotta go.
this dude is in a rhythm right now.
Oh,
Oh,
they
God, I
winning.
didn't cut you
Oh.
off.
No, it's all good.
Wow.
But yeah, man. Look, at the end of the day, I called this simply because, and I think you're 100% right, Ken. They are very evenly matched.
Yeah.
I think Portland has a little bit more firepower just because when you look at number 3, 4, and 5 shooters,
They got shooters.
They're way better than OKC's 3, 4, and 5th shooter on the roster.
Schroeder needs to start too. I don't know why he keeps bringing starting Terry
I was
Ferguson.
thinking about that too, and that goes back to coaching still too. But I always thought that especially I thought that was a really great pickup that they got Schroeder,
Mhm.
but he should have been the point guard, move Russ to the 2, and that way you can at least control something.
But not all time. It's just kind of like when they had James Harden originally, right? Like you bring James Harden, he finishes out the game.
But for this series,
No, I got you. You gotta try something. though.
Well,
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
At least shake it
By
up
the
a
second or
little
third
bit.
game, no. I 100% agree.
Because
Yeah.
I think somebody, I forgot what series, somebody did that, and I think it almost got him a win. But either way it go, I
you
think
got to switch it up.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
playoffs, because there ain't no tomorrow.
Exactly.
right. Look, I'll say this, Russ, and when I texted you guys and said, man, I love Russell Westbrook, I almost didn't send it because I had a feeling that when he shot that 3 and he was yelling to the crowd, I was like, you're gonna get them boys riled up and ready to go.
'Cause
And they-
That's what happened.
yeah,
But that's the gift of the curse.
Dame took over in that third quarter.
yeah, but
That's
he
the
has
gift
to.
of the curse.
At this point, how many years has Russ been in the league? Since what, 09 or something like that?
Almost 10 years.
No, yeah, almost 10 years. At this point, bro, like you got to realize the moment. Like that wasn't a game winner. That was just what. That wasn't even the.
No,
That's
whoa,
just-
whoa.
that's how he
Exactly.
plays,
Like,
man.
No. I'm not saying
They
lose
was
the
on a
fire.
run.
I'm not saying
They was
lose
on
the.
a run too at that when he hit that 3. Like,
Yeah,
they was
but the
run- they was
game ain't
rolling.
over. Like get back.
It
Like,
still, but
it
you still
doesn't matter.
emotionally.
Golden
Yeah.
State did the same
Yeah.
thing, dog.
Yeah.
but Golden State got KD. Then you got others. You ain't.
matter.
It's
Doesn't
just
matter.
you
We
and
talking-
it's you
they
and your
still-
boys.
Golden State
Matter.
front runs.
But when you're feeling it and emotions running, it's a playoff
Yep.
game. He's,
Come on.
And then we know since day one, Dame and Russ was talking back and
No,
forth.
they
Yeah.
talk, but you know that's to Dame's advantage, right? Because he
No,
takes
not
him
necessarily.
because he takes him out of his focus.
Nah.
There's a difference.
You don't think so?
No, you know why? Hold on, okay. Because Russ respects Dame. So it's not going to take him so far out of his game that it takes Russ completely out of his character. Last year, why it backfired with Rubio, because he disrespects Rubio. And he knows Rubio's not on my level, so I'm going to come out here and embarrass you. And that took him outside of the team construct.
Does Russ try to play hero ball either way?
Yeah, because that's part of his DNA.
He just mentioned the game just started, and there's plays where he like pass the ball.
I feel you, but again,
Is that not like a competition? Like, I gotta outduel Dame.
Yeah.
Every game, I feel like he's thinking that.
a little bit, but not. That's just his competitive
Yeah, it is.
nature, bro. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why I said that he needs a point guard head coach to rein that in a little bit. You need to
That means you're not focused in my
It
in my
doesn't mean
opinion.
that you're not focused because they're scoring point guard. Steve Francis was a scoring point
Yeah.
guard. You know what I'm saying? So for me, right, like I could just talk about personal experience. Like my game did not elevate until I truly understood what it meant to make plays for others. Because then it meant that it was easier for me to get mine. And not saying that Russell doesn't understand it. The man averaged a triple-double 3 straight years. But in critical moments, he needs to know what is a good pass versus a bad pass. What's a good shot versus a bad shot. Doesn't matter if you make or miss it. He takes too many bad shots. He makes too many bad passes in critical moments. That's a point guard job.
And all of this criticism, because Russ hasn't been playing, he hasn't played, at least been very efficient all year. We've talked about it a couple of times on the show. What's wrong with Westbrook? Why do you go from shooting 80% to 60-something? Like, what's up with that? In the playoffs, it's a personal vendetta for him. But like FIFO said, it's part of his DNA. And when you look at Russ, he's been always trying to climb up that hill his whole life. He's always been counted out. So he's always going to have that chip on his shoulder, but it's to the detriment of him and to his team. So, and when I see people, let's get into the overrated thing, I don't think Russ is overrated. I actually think he's underrated. I think people don't appreciate the fact that he's averaged a triple-double for 3 straight seasons.
What he shot it from the logo again?
Nah, it was just
It
off
was
the
a tough.
pick
It
and
was
roll.
the degree of
Mhm.
difficulty on that shot was tough, and he popped that bad boy. Dame Lillard just swished it.
But yeah, but so I understand the criticism. I just think that when I think about this team,
Ooh,
and when I think about the 3 first-round exits, I look at a couple of things. I definitely look at the roster. Like the first year when KD left, we didn't even think it was a playoff team that made the playoffs, so we knew that was gonna go the way it went. Second year, whatever. That team was still trying to repatch the team together. This year, matchups, Billy Donovan's still a problem, and the roster just isn't
But what?
a first round
But Sam
exit
Presti
roster, and that's the other guy that I've called out, and he needs to be looked at.
You
said it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
We gotta look at the damn GMs.
and you're right. But Sam Presti has done a damn good. I get you.
Finish your statement.
Okay.
Finish your statement.
Because I'm with you, but I'm also with FIFA on it because it's like, how many players have drafted James Harden, KD? Like, look at him.
But even beyond that, just the second and third version.
Exactly, it's like he's changed this roster over 3 times already, and they're still.
And what has it got him?
It's got him an NBA Finals appearance. It's got him multiple Western Conference appearances, Finals appearances.
2 MVPs.
2 MVP players. Damn near 3 if they would have kept Harden. And it's just a 6-man at least. But at the same time, it's been 3 years in a row where they have not advanced out of the first round.
What do we say about Pittsburgh?
We
With all that talent,
we're going to look back in 20 years.
Why they didn't win a title,
Yep.
right?
We're going to do the same thing with OKC.
Well, we can't. First of all, because ownership meddles, right? And they didn't want to pay James Harden.
I'm with the history.
So,
But we give
They
him.
ain't want to pay Le'Veon either.
But we're giving he deserves credit for drafting well. But at the end of the day, when you have drafted 3 MVPs and you got 1 finals appearance out of it, now I understand Russell got hurt 1 year, and there was a
KD
couple,
was
and
hurt.
KD got hurt 1 year, so bad
but
luck.
also KD left. And I put it to you like this, Ken. How many GMs?
But look at the roster. Okay,
Wait,
KD
hold on,
left,
hold
and
on,
now
hold
look at the
on,
roster
hold on,
he's
hold
putting
on.
together.
Hold on, though, Ken. How many GMs can lose a talent like KD and miraculously go get PG? And you didn't even.
Okay.
And think about it, because 9 times out of 10, like when LeBron left from Miami, it was a sign and trade,
Mm-hmm.
right? So at least Cleveland got some picks, got some players. They got some out of it. OKC got diddly.
He got PG, but what else is he gaining from that?
But
Because
the-
right now we get a
but,
first round.
but
exits.
as his job, he's done his job in my opinion.
Have you seen this
when
roster? How has he
like
done his job?
Like he just mentioned, it was high risk, high reward. Like we could be risking the future of this franchise by trading Oladipo and trying to get PG because he could leave right after this, and we can
Just
get
like-
squat
just like KD did.
exactly, and we just be left with Russ. But he did it anyway because he was like, you know what, F it, we need something.
They don't even have a team that can get out of the first round, Nick.
But wait, Ken.
I
Before-
blame that
wait,
on
wait,
coach
hold
more
on,
than.
Hold on. Coaching is a problem. I'm not gonna put the onus of the blame on Presti, because he's done a damn good job. He just hasn't gotten to the point where he's now competing for titles yet. But let me mention a contemporary of his, right? Daryl Morey, the person that made the James Harden trade, right? Like they were in the playoffs that first year with James Harden, but they were a first round exit. Because nobody knew that James Harden's bag was that big, you know. So he can't, because think about it.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Because
You're right.
he literally got traded like on the first day of the season. He came out
And he got like $100 million,
practice time,
and we was wondering
he
why the
scored
hell.
like 30-something
Yeah.
with Jeremy Lin as his point guard. I remember vividly, right? So the thing is that Houston every year has been able, hey, yo, I'm gonna go get 1 shooter, 2 shooters. You know, damn, CP's available. Let me go get CP. You know, so he's been able, because the foundation was James Harden. The trade for James Harden started everything for Houston.
I understand.
And then every year he's just been able to add. Yeah, you lose some things, right?
All right, so year 1 lost KD. Russ Westbrook got him to the playoffs,
Year 1 lost KD. We go trade for Oladipo.
and they got Oladipo, right? So it was enough to get
And
to
then
the
year
playoffs.
2,
Year 2 got rid of that. We got Paul George.
We got Paul George and Melo.
Still Melo.
And then year
Got rid
3,
of Melo,
we
you
we
bitched
have
that.
we
This
have
is
Paul
year
George.
3.
Yeah,
this is
year
year
3.
3. So the thing is that he hasn't had the same amount of time with the original foundation to continue to add because he's lost so many things during the course.
But my main thing is, what other small market team has done what he's done to that franchise? I can't even fathom a small market team that's done this.
He's done remarkable. It's been an amazing job.
That's why it's hard for me to say that.
Better.
Exactly.
And you can't do better.
Exactly.
He's done as good of a job as any GM, including Jerry West, including Danny Ainge,
I was just about to go there.
All the greatest GMs can't do a better job than Presti. Like this is about. I give him an A- just because they can't get past the first round.
I give him a B+ because he let Harden go over and he picked Ibaka.
That's business. Yeah.
That wasn't all him.
But he should have. If he saw the talent to draft him, he should have known.
I don't think they saw the talent.
No.
They didn't see MVP talent when they had Harden.
Did you see? Did y'all hear what Chris Broussard said? So back around that time where they were about to trade James Harden, he polled execs around the league, and the majority of he said about 70% of them said that they would rather trade Russell Westbrook. So even back then,
I saw that.
Execs they knew. OKC knew. Sam Presti probably knew.
Yeah, was that? Did he say that recently? Because I was.
Yeah, he said it was recent.
Okay, because I was doing a lot of research on that trade last week. I was just going down a rabbit hole, and I didn't see that anywhere.
Chris Broussard, look, he be running polls and stuff like that.
Chris Broussard, man.
Hey,
and I pulled up a lot of articles just trying to figure out, like, what were the league saying? What were people saying about that trade?
But some of the stuff he be having, he be like, some of the people just don't even want their name attached to it.
Exactly.
I know it can be anonymous, but I haven't seen it. I ain't see anybody report that.
Of course, because it's not always to be reported.
Or maybe it's not a question that people probably even care to ask.
Yeah, not at that time. Look. Okay. At the end of the day,
it sounds good. Revisionist history, you ask me.
At the end of the day, I think that again, nobody has done or could do a better job.
All right, let's show Dame some love. We could talk about Westbrook. We're gonna be talking about Westbrook next week because we got to
bounced out.
we got to help these losing teams. We got to rebuild these rosters when round two start.
We do.
Like we did with football. So, B, talk about your boy Dame Lillard, man. 3-1, busting ass out there, man. You're a Dame Lillard fan.
They losing right now though, but it's only the first quarter. Dame don't cut it on to second half anyway. But yeah, man, Dame is look. Oh my God, no what? Wow, really?
Going in. That's practice
really?
Shot. That's a practice shot.
Wow, that's crazy.
That.
But yeah, man, I think Lillard's showing. They know, and him and CJ talked about it. They like, yeah, we know we got swept last year. We know people was talking and all that stuff, so they know going into this series that. They was about business, man, and so far they've been taking care of business in this series. It's not over yet, but 3-1 is. We've had 8 teams lose a 3-1 lead, but when you up 3-1,
2 of them was Doc.
You sitting pretty comfortable, man. So I think, even if they lose this game, I think they get the next one because they know the pressure. Will go towards them. So they at home right now. OKC they playing with, of course, because they backs against the wall. Dame Lillard. Put respect on Dame Lillard's name, man. Especially if he comes out this series in 5 games against Westbrook. They literally been at each other's neck, and he's proven that he's the better point guard right now over Westbrook. And all this talk about Dame Lillard and all this disrespect on Dame Lillard, I think people need to put respect on his name, especially if he finishes this series out tonight.
Yeah, and when I'm kind of looking at the landscape of the media, like I'm seeing very few people like talk about the job that Dame is doing.
They really not.
It's all about what Westbrook isn't doing.
Yep. Yep.
Right. So yeah,
because he's a bigger superstar.
But
bigger name. Yeah,
he's the bigger name, and he's clickbait. Yeah, that's what he is. He's clickbait for a lot of media, and I understand that. The business is business.
That was CJ. That was CJ.
Yo,
yeah.
I don't look, man.
His game's so smooth, man.
It is, man.
Who does he remind you of?
Honestly, nobody.
I've been trying to think. I can't think of
who's smooth, but like still in who's lethal.
Because
I haven't seen it. I can't recall of anybody with his type of game.
Exactly, because he has a little bit of rip in him because he can move without the ball, catch and shoot right off the rock. But I've never seen somebody that has the type of catch and shoot game have the off the dribble game like that. And he's not quick. Like he's methodical. Like and I've played against a couple point guards. It used to irk me that they were so slow they were quick. Like they moved you like, and you like.
You talking about that Paul Pierce movement?
Bruh. Oh my
Paul Pierce
God.
about to take 90 years to get to the line, but he somehow get there and finish.
He get there. But nah, honestly, CJ don't remind me of nobody I've watched before him.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anybody. When I was watching, I was like, man, because he's I think methodical is good. He's always under control.
Yep.
He knows what he want to do. He can get there at any given moment, and the shit always seems like it goes in. But there was something you said, B, and I think that's why when it comes back to a point you made, FIFO, it's all about matchups.
Mm-hmm.
Portland was a wrong draw for them because they remember what happened last year.
You're taking it out all on them.
And that exactly, and it's all business.
CJ and Dame said it in press conferences, like they know. So they coming out here, they seeing number red right now.
And did y'all see the last thing that Dame said? He said, "Yo, you don't be a third seed in the West by luck,
Right?
not by luck."
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't really. I mean, he got swept last year as a third seed.
That
right?
wasn't the point, Nick, and you know it.
I'm just saying, like,
Wow, man.
It's automatic now, boy.
Like,
It's automatic now,
Why
and that is an
nobody
and
put
one.
respect on that
Hey,
man's
that's an
name?
and one, ref.
Look, Westbrook don't shoot that.
His game is so complete, man.
You know he is.
But
Is that
ain't
an
nothing wrong
N1?
with that.
That was N1.
Ain't nothing wrong
But
with that.
yeah, because he's driving to the basket.
No wrong with
As
that.
long as
No,
you
but
not
I'm
shooting
saying
those
like he
jump-
took it like, oh, he made a 3. I gotta go get my bucket right now.
And so wait, so that's how I know you're not a real hooper.
No. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that's his mindset, and that, like we mentioned earlier, that could be to their detriment.
But at
throughout
least he
the
didn't
game.
shoot a 3.
Yes, but he wanted to. You could tell he wanted to.
But
No, he has it. That was a Hezo. He just did a Hezo.
Yeah, I mean that was
There's
that was
nothing-
quick work right there.
there's nothing wrong. Like Jordan did that.
I'm
all
not
the
saying
time.
it's a wrong thing. I'm saying it could be wrong at certain times, and he's shown that it's consistently. That's one of his Achilles' heel
But
as far as
again-
picking his moments.
But again, do we have? And obviously, I was a baby, and I know you. If I was a baby, you definitely wasn't even born. You wasn't even thought of yet. But is that the type of talk that people were having against Jordan when he had Doug Collins as a coach? Like Jordan came.
They was
into the
talking
league-
shit about Jordan the first 9 years.
They had to have, because Jordan was one of those guys like, oh, you think you can get 2 buckets on me? Watch this. You know what I'm saying? Like that was Jordan. Even under Phil Jackson, the difference was that I know where my guys are gonna be because we got this triangle. But guess what? You still not gonna stop me.
I don't mind that type of mentality if it's paired with a good coach. When it's paired with a coach that doesn't, either the player doesn't respect or doesn't have a scheme that can be like, okay, for the first 40 minutes, I think someone on Speak For Yourself said this. I think Rick, somebody, he was like, the first 40 minutes, you do whatever you want. You go ahead, do that. The last 8 minutes, that's mine as far as the head coach. You're going to do my game plan when it comes to closing out this game.
I think
Westbrook hasn't had that coach. We just mentioned 2 of them. They don't fit that scheme.
I think that's what Jordan told Kobe. He said you can go. Well, somebody told somebody, but the math was like you can get 6 points the first 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter you just go off. But he said you want to get everybody else involved, and you just kind of play within the rhythm of the game.
Don't they have it where the hand is an extension of the ball when it comes to certain plays?
No, he literally smacked him.
I seen it, but like the playoffs is like, don't they let certain things go?
They gonna let that go.
Yeah, especially this
All
early
right,
in
so
the game.
Golden State Clippers, that's over with. Houston didn't handle their business. James Harden had 2 bad games on the road. Obviously, this should be
Real
next.
quick, when you mentioned Golden State and Clippers, I would love to see more of that KD that we saw after they made all the hoopla about Beverly shutting them down. And the next game, remember he was like, "Y'all know who I am? I'm Kevin Durant." And
I
he,
love
like,
that.
He showed
People
like,
hated
the
it. I
way
don't know
he
why
played-
people hated that.
the way
For
he
real?
played.
People was hating on
Yes,
that.
the way Kevin Durant played, it was almost kind of like, damn, where has that been all career? Like I've never seen him
When he's just killing.
like that like
because he's
that locked in where it was kind of like, yeah, like you know who I am, Kevin Durant.
He's
like
not-
the stuff that me and FIFO say about him,
Yeah.
like this is the scariest dude in the league, and he showed us that night why he was the scariest guy in the league. And I'm like, where has this been all career?
because he's not that dude. Because remember they gave him the nickname early on as the Slim Reaper, and he didn't. And I don't think he really liked that. Because I guess he doesn't consider him as an assassin. He's kind of like the Durantula thing, where as far as I can do anything and I'm long or whatever.
Yeah,
but
that
when
game
he's
was
locked
through,
in,
man.
But his
there-
social media handles Easy Money Sniper, so I don't know about that.
I mean, but
Yeah, but the way he played that
No,
game,
I feel you.
Jesus
you know what
Christ,
it
dude.
reminded me of? It reminded me that game 4 or 5 in Boston that LeBron had.
Where he just-
45,
Game 6.
Game,
it was game
when
6.
he came out and he made them first 3, and you're like, ooh. 2, get your popcorn ready because
Yeah.
this is going.
I think, yeah. You talking about when Miami when he went? It was in
were
Boston,
down.
and
Yeah,
he,
it was in-
yeah,
yeah,
and he
he
just
came-
came. He
yep.
came. He didn't
He
even
came-
say. I don't even think he said nothing.
He didn't say
He just
nothing.
came out and just started
Yeah,
balling,
He just came
That's
out
what
here.
I'm saying. Like,
and he dunked on Rondo. I
Yep.
was mad as hell that day.
Yep.
why they don't
Because
have
you
that
know what, B,
mentality, man?
you know, I think
Because guys that when I was growing up watching, ball, like they had that mentality. Like every night, it didn't have to. Nothing had for them to click for them to just be like, this is my game and I'm taking this shit.
But you know what though, be like, from a mentality standpoint, no. From an efficiency standpoint, yes. Right? Like, as much as I watch Jordan, as much as I watch Westbrook, I never have to question mentally where they are. They're locked in, they're focused, they're trying to eat your heart out. I give you that. LeBron doesn't have that all 100% of the time. KD doesn't have that 100% of the time. But for these guys to have performances like that, because that's special. That you gotta pull that. That don't come. That's not everyday meal. You know, like some Thanksgivings, your mama just like, God damn, I wish I could take this and package it up for the rest of the month.
Mm-hmm.
It be like that sometimes. Be like, and you playing as a basketball player, and I've played with you in some moments, right? Like on some fucking rec league type teams, and even out there hooping. You know that those special moments that you have, even though you want to have that all the time, sometimes the game don't call for that. Sometimes I need you to score 10 threes, and sometimes
his breakdown of it too made sense too from a basketball standpoint. Like he was like, I could shoot over him all the time, but that would be only like a 40 to 45%, efficiency rate. When I got Steph over here, when I got Clay behind me, when I got at the time Boogie, right? It's like I have to play well within the offense. Now I can show you that every now and then, and I also think it was because it was the Clippers. They weren't really expecting all. Like he didn't really think that Patrick Beverley was going to be in the conversation as far as headlines for the series. But
I'm glad he just shut that up.
yeah, he can. But he showed you he can do it. And I think he always. It also is all about pacing. Like you know what I'm saying.
That's
like
why what he said was bullshit. It was what he bullshit. Oh yeah, I got Steph. I got all these people. That was all bullshit. He knew what he was gonna do. He knew what he was gonna. That's why he said, I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am.
mm-hmm.
Y'all know who I am.
he looked at that guy like, you know what?
He already knew what he was gonna do. He just gave the media answer.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
That was media training.
Yes,
That was media
100%. He had every intention to come out and put 38, 40 on them boys.
And look, man, like I can speak from experience. There's certain games, certain people, certain moments that I'm just like, bruh, I don't care who you is, you about to capture this ride. And that was just one of those moments for KD, man. And I think every superstar has those moments. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't stop me, bro. I'm gonna show it to you. I'm sorry, but
I want to go
gonna
back to Dame real quick, B, because I've been thinking about this. His makeup, his mentality, wanting to win in Portland and not leave.
It's an F for super team.
Does it remind you of Isaiah Thomas, his mentality when he was playing?
Yeah, but also Isaiah also said he's not with the super team stuff. But if Jordan and Bird would want to come to the Pistons, he would welcome him with open arms. But he would never see himself going to like Chicago or to Boston or to LA to play with them.
And Dame has had that mentality. He's tried to recruit players before.
I don't know if Dame
Oh,
ever
yeah?
tried to recruit.
He tried to recruit Melo.
He did.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
Him and CJ.
Yeah.
And then I think who
Yeah.
else? Wasn't it somebody else
See,
they tried to
I think
recruit
Dame
too?
probably
Wait,
had
which
that same
Melo?
mentality.
Old Melo?
It don't matter. It's Carmelo Anthony. He's the Hall of Famer.
I'm pretty sure if Anthony Davis was like, "Oh, I want to
Second
come play for
ballot now.
Portland," I'm pretty sure.
Chill
Dame,
out.
I'm pretty sure Dame will welcome him with open arms. I'm pretty sure Dame's not gonna be like, "Oh no, man, I don't want you." I don't want you for the team."
Exactly.
But if Anthony Davis want to come to Portland,
Mhm.
if Kawhi Leonard wants to come to Portland, he will welcome him with open arms. So I think that mentality. I think he still wants to kind of like want to just do it from the dirt.
He
Like,
knows he needs
yeah.
somebody, but he wants to be the Paul Pierce and have KG and Ray Allen come
Exactly.
down.
Yeah.
I'm the foundation.
Yeah.
I'm the reason why we're
Yeah.
something. And if you want to be part of this special something
Come
we got
on.
brewing, come on.
But I'm
But
not,
I'm not going over there because I'm the foundation.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
that's his mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's his mentality overall.
And I think certain players need to have that mentality. Not every superstar needs to have that mentality.
I like small market players to have it. Like what Russ is doing with staying in OKC, Dame in Portland. I was hoping AD would do that with New Orleans, but it's just
I
like
think Victor's thing, Victor
But,
being
but,
Yeah.
but here's the thing though. Like that can only but take you so far. The reason why Portland
well-run
looks nice.
organizations like that. Okay.
The reason why Portland looks nice because they've drafted well. They know what Dame is. They got him the right coach. They got him the right roster.
So you think the situation, though, if
Yes.
it was like a situation where it's like the coach is horrible, GM's
Yeah,
not
get me the
making
hell
smart
up outta here,
moves.
bro.
Yeah.
Because look at Anthony Davis, dog. Like this man.
Kobe Bryant wanted out.
Kobe
Michael
Bryant went out.
Jordan wanted
A lot
out.
of people
Yep.
have amnesia about Kobe wanting out
Yep.
of LA.
Yep, and he said, "I want to go to Chicago."
I don't know how they have amnesia. He was on record.
That's what I'm saying.
Then he called up
On
the
the
radio
Stephen A.
station.
show.
That's what I'm
On the
saying.
Stephen A.
It's
show.
like people be talking dog and LeBron out. It's like LeBron been quiet the whole time. LeBron waited to when he was a free agent and he made his moves. But people forget that Kobe was whining and crying and wanted out, threatening to the GMs to make moves, and they end up getting Artest and Pau Gasol and all them, and that's what started his repeat run. But yeah, people forget about that, man. On Kobe,
The religion is it's so
they forget
frustrating.
about that, man.
Stephen A. Smith said that there's a better than 50% chance that the GOAT GM, as y'all call him, may get Kawhi and KD.
Yep.
I don't know. It's coming out of Stephen A. Smith's mouth.
No, I trust his sources, bro.
Who the only one to
I didn't say
LeBron going to Miami? The only one.
No, I'm not saying that he's wrong all the time, but I don't know about this one because
Is it because it's the Clippers?
it's because it's KD. It's because of KD.
Bubble, man.
What about KD?
Because
What about KD?
because to me it's like there's two players where you can't really. Well, it's three players you can't really predict what they're gonna do or what they're gonna say. To me, it's Kawhi, Kyrie, and KD.
You tripping?
All right, so here's
Only
the
two.
thing. Here's the thing.
I'm just not putting nothing past Jerry West.
Not only that, but he also added this on, and I'll be listening to what people say. He said, "I was in L.A. for a reason." He didn't. That's not a throwaway
Stephen
line.
A. said that.
Stephen A. said that,
Okay.
and he's not going to put that out there if he hasn't heard that. It doesn't mean it's true. We're not. He's
And
not
it doesn't
saying
mean it's
true.
going to happen.
And
No,
it doesn't mean
yeah.
that certain things can change to change
Right.
what was
Right.
said that day.
Right.
But
That's what I mean. Because now,
he's hearing something.
yeah,
And somebody has told him. Colin Cowherd does the same thing. He'll hear something. He'll find a way to put it out there without revealing his source. And if it happens, it happens. And then he'll come back and say, "We've been trying to tell you for weeks." And like you said, like FIFO said, like, so whether it happens, we don't know. But he's only telling you what he's hearing.
Where
and-
there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
there's the one thing that needs to be said first and foremost. There's 4 teams that can sign 2 max players right this summer. It's Brooklyn,
The Lakers,
it's the
the
Knicks,
Clippers.
the Lakers, and the Clippers.
Two
Both.
biggest markets.
I would say the 4 teams
Yeah.
are in the biggest markets in the NBA.
Mhm.
Those are to me. Those are the 4 teams that all these free agents are going to go to. Like however they divvy up. Somebody's going to the Knicks. Somebody's going to the
Think
Clippers.
Kawhi going to
No,
the Clippers?
I don't agree
You don't
with
think
that.
so?
No, because first of all, I think that Clay stays home. I think he stays with Golden State.
No, I'm not saying they have to. I'm saying like those are the 4 teams that they probably were most likely are going to.
Again, I disagree. I think that Jimmy probably stays because I think Jimmy's about his money and I think he wants the most money he can get. I'm just saying that I think 2 or 3 of those franchises come up empty, and they're gonna have to rely on the draft. Because if Kawhi and KD are already off the market and they go to the Clippers, who else is out there? Because Clay, I
Just
think
Kemba and Boogie.
you know. what I'm saying?
Kyrie,
Yeah. Here's the thing.
does
I
he not
think-
play a factor into where KD goes, or is that are these 2 separate entities?
I think honestly, I think that I don't think that they want to tow each other's wagon to each other's hitch. If that makes any sense. I because what's the narrative if KD and Kyrie get together? You know
I
what I'm
don't
saying?
know.
Right? Like what's that narrative? And then on top of that, I don't think that Jerry West,
I don't think it'll be a negative narrative though.
I think if they go to New York, it can be.
If they're
because
not
of
winning.
that media, and I think that those 2 is going to take a little bit because obviously I don't think that those 2 will go together to Brooklyn. I think those 2 will go together to New York, and I think New York's cupboard is so bare that it's not like they're going to be a dominant team right off the gate.
well,
They're
if they
just
get the number 1 overall pick, they can do some things with
You
that.
got Zion.
You can have Zion, or you could trade for AD. Like I'm saying, like things can move. And
I feel you. You know what? Look, it's still very early. I'm still enjoying playoff basketball. However, I just here's the thing. I believe wholeheartedly with what Stephen A. Smith says when it comes to free agency and player movement, because he was also one of the first people saying that KD to Golden State was basically a done deal, and I was one of the first people on this telecast to say that as well. But I don't know, man. Stephen A. has a lot of stock.
I want that to happen.
What, KD and
KD
Kawhi?
and Kawhi go to Clippers.
I don't.
I think Kawhi goes there. I think Kawhi.
I want that to happen.
Yeah,
I don't want that to
because I think
happen,
that's
obviously.
balance.
Shake some shit up.
Yeah,
boy.
that's balance.
Ooh, but that'd
And then
be
just
messy.
make Jerry West. It'll make Jerry
that'd
West.
be messy.
Oh yeah, it would.
Mhm.
But can you imagine if Jerry West turns that team into a winning organization?
He
The
goes-
Clippers.
He goes
Like
against.
this.
But what happens to Golden State though?
What do
'Cause
you mean?
I don't care
They're
about
not-
that.
That's the
giving
mess
that.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Talking
Give me
about
that
the
drama.
Clippers, man. Like
They'll be all right, man.
Yeah, because
They'll be all right.
if KD gone, Clay
Clay's gonna
staying.
resign.
I thought the
Yeah.
mess you was talking about is like the team that they play in the same building with.
Exactly. I thought you was talking to Lakers.
Nah, leaving Golden State and having to play Golden State, having to play Draymond, bro.
Yep.
What the hell does that mean?
It's gonna be drama.
Draymond just lost weight. He on
Oh,
Weight
that-
Watchers right
Bro,
now.
do you know how many buckets KD?
No.
is gonna give
It's
him?
just Draymond's attitude.
And then you got a defensive.
Draymond might be a six-man.
Kawhi,
What-
Draymond might be out the league.
Yeah,
And
about to
Doc
say.
Rivers
You want
coaching
to talk about out the league?
He's not going.
Draymond in about
He-
3 years
He got
out the way.
He's closer to the end. I'll put it to you like this.
There's the death warrant.
He's gonna last longer than Kyle Lowry. I'll tell you that.
Think about this though, but the Doc
Mhm.
Rivers coaching KD and Kawhi,
Yeah, man, that's a problem, man.
man,
I don't
problem.
think it's gonna happen.
I want that shit to happen.
I hope it don't happen. I need. Come on, Kyrie, Kate.
Why you
'Cause
hope it
I
don't?
want that to happen.
Because I want them in New York. What you mean? Why I don't? Bring. If they get a championship
Look,
with the
look,
Knicks, that's bigger than everything.
I think honestly,
No, the Clippers been the loser. They've been
man,
the
yeah, the most losing.
yeah.
If they bring,
if they go to the Clippers and win a championship at the Clippers,
you think that's bigger than the Knicks getting a
Yes.
championship banner?
Yes, and the reason
Knicks
why
got banners, though.
exactly.
They got 2. That's it.
It doesn't
Still got
matter,
'em.
but they also had a superstar. Patrick Ewing was a superstar.
yes,
Outside of the Lob City Clippers, what
What-
the hell was the Clippers?
That's what
the
I'm
next
saying.
best team was Elton Brand, Lamar Odom.
that's like if the Browns win the Super Bowl. If the Clippers win the Super Bowl,
Yeah, bro.
that's a. I mean,
Yeah.
win an NBA championship. That's a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
I think it's.
it
I
is.
think because of the,
Especially before the Lakers too.
Right, right.
Yeah, man.
That's a big deal, dog.
I think it'll be bigger than New York. They're
No,
close,
it
but I
won't.
think New York is.
Bye bye OKC.
No, it won't.
And you know, that adds to the lore of Jerry West, bro. Oh my
Thank you.
God! Because
Look what he
at this
constructed.
point, he says, bro, I done been to 4 franchises and won chips.
All you,
It's
you
not
can't
even
say
close.
nothing.
Because to me, right now, in terms of GMing, it's not close.
It's not close.
But he does that.
He
To
didn't
the
win.
Clippers.
He didn't win a
He-
chip.
he's the Phil Jackson.
He didn't win a chip with Memphis, did he?
He was with Memphis.
Was
He
he
was
with
GM with
Memphis?
Memphis.
I thought he was with Memphis. That's how he got the.
I know he started with Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah.
That was him.
That was him.
Golden State
Golden
was
State. That was him.
Yeah.
him.
You said 4
and he
teams.
been at Clippers.
I thought it was Memphis was one of his stops.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm
Because I
gonna
thought
look
he was the Zach Randolph.
Yeah, he was
Mike
at
Com-
Memphis. He
Yeah.
was in
He was
Memphis.
at
Yeah.
Memphis? Okay, fine, but he took him from
it up.
nobody
Western Conference Finals.
to Western
Yeah,
Conference Finals.
he did.
We was, hey, we here. You know, you
And
right
they
there.
and for the years, Memphis was like about
Top.
a good 3 years straight. They were like
Top
a team
three,
you
top
didn't.
four.
Yeah,
You didn't want to play him in
you
the
didn't
playoffs.
want to play him in the playoffs. 'Cause they had
With Tony Allen?
The Grindhouse.
Yep.
Yeah, the Grindhouse.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Come on now. Yeah, man.
I think the last, because we've kind of touched on everything already.
We ain't talking about really Toronto, Orlando.
Yeah, Toronto, Boston. Or no, Toronto, Philly.
Philly.
Let's
It's official
talk
now. It's
about that.
official
Yeah.
now.
Let's talk a little bit about
Yeah, because that Orlando didn't stand a chance. Did they win a game?
They
Yeah,
won
they
the
won
first
Yeah, they
one.
won the first
game. Yeah.
With
Yeah.
bum ass Kyle Lowry.
Let
not
DJ
scoring
Augustin.
Bruh.
Um,
Look, man. So
They were overmatched, but Philly, Toronto, I think Philly's going to win that.
I think
In
Philly's
what?
gonna win it too. 6.
Yeah, I got 6. I don't think Kawhi really wants to be there.
I don't even think it's.
How do you
that.
know that? That's what I'm saying. I don't know. How you read this man? I can't
Yeah,
even
you
tell.
can't-
I read Boston.
I'm talking about Kawhi. You said
Oh,
Kawhi don't
yeah.
want to really be there.
I'd just be paying attention.
You
to
think he want
things.
to come west? You think he just want
Yeah, I
He's
think he wanna
coming
be
west.
home.
Yeah, yeah.
I-
But-
Well, he
wants
did. He
to
did
go.
buy a house in San Diego.
yeah,
right?
he's coming west. Like he's gonna
going to
do
the Clippers.
his job.
He going to the Clippers, man.
He's going to LA.
I,
He's going to
I
the
agree with that.
Lakers.
I do agree.
He
I
goes to
think
the
he is
Clippers.
going to go to
You
the
think
He's
he's
going
Clippers.
to the
going
Yeah,
Lakers,
regardless.
Stop.
Oh, come on.
Bruh.
No, they more they so dysfunctional.
Yeah, they
Clippers a little bit more stable.
Yep.
They a little more got a better coach.
Championship.
Who would have
head
thought you
coach.
would have said that in
Yeah.
I know, right?
10 years ago?
I know, right? Yeah.
You got GOAT
You got,
GM.
you got Jerry West. You got Doc
Yeah.
Rivers. A little
It's
more
stable over there. And
Yeah.
Steve Ballmer, he willing
Yeah.
to pay the money.
He gonna pay the money.
Yep.
You gonna be the
Luxury
man.
tax?
You gonna be the
Wait a
man there.
minute, wait
You
a
gonna be the
minute.
man there.
Mhm.
Look, kid, like wait.
What
a
about?
minute.
Not about that. What about Gasol versus Embiid? Can Gasol get around? Mark Gasol get around anymore?
Oh yeah, he do play.
No,
I
he's
brought that up.
nice,
I brought
but
that
he-
up.
But
He's not the same. He's
yeah.
not the grind. He's not
If
the
we talking
grind
grind
Memphis,
that's
yeah.
different.
That'll
But
be
this
interesting.
Gasol, no.
But he has the big body.
It don't
he
matter.
does.
He can't move.
He's not. Yeah,
though.
he's not.
Joel's
Marc Gasol
too
no more.
nimble.
Yeah.
He's too nimble for that.
All right.
But this would be very interesting if this was the
Yes.
Memphis
yes.
Marc Gasol.
Or
Man.
if Joel
'Cause he
Embiid
bangs.
was older and didn't have the quickness advantage. Like if they were just two big lumbering bigs, then this is more interesting. But
So we're looking at.
he can't-
I say Philly in 7.
Do you think this is going 7-2?
I don't think he's going 7.
I think it's going 7.
Because
Two
Toronto got the home
words.
court. Toronto got the home
Yeah.
court advantage.
Kyle Lowry. That's why they're not going 7, bro. That's why they're not.
I can't
no,
disagree with you on that.
because-
I don't got a
no,
point against that
I'm
one.
gonna tell you like this, man. Nick Nurse is gonna have to bench him in one of them games, bro. I'm telling, it's gonna get ugly. Bro, you can't score against Orlando.
Toronto pretty
That
long
was
too,
one
aren't
game, man.
they? In Toronto pretty long. Like
Yeah,
squad-
they are.
They're all right. They're
Okay.
all right. I would say they're the third longest team in the East.
Where they ranked as far as team defense?
It's Milwaukee. Well, I don't know. Team defense.
To me, Milwaukee and Philly are the two longest in the East, and then
Probably, yeah.
I mean, like,
Toronto
I'm,
and then
I mean, I'm
Boston.
talking about like as far as like the better defensive team.
I'll
Like,
see if I can
is
look it up
Toronto
real
like
quick.
one of the top defensive teams?
I don't know. I know
they
Milwaukee.
were for a stretch, but I don't know for the season.
I know Milwaukee was like
That's gonna play a
first
role
and
right
third
there.
in both offense and defense or something like that.
If they defensive IQ is as good as it is, they gonna have a game plan for Ben Simmons. I think this. This is gonna be a tough one to predict.
That's why I say I gotta give it a 7 because I like the matchups. So y'all talking about match. I like the matchups because they both kind of like conflict with each other in some ways and somehow. And I do think Philly can get a road win in a game 7, but I don't think Philly will end this quicker than 6 or 5.
Fourth in
They was fourth
defensive
in defensive
efficiency.
Who they showing 3, 2, and 1?
Milwaukee first, Utah second. They just got blitzed. Indiana third, and then Toronto fourth.
Well, Charlotte led the league in blocks, so that's a big reason why they were up there.
I forgot how long
Damn,
Toronto
Milwaukee
is. They
won?
do got Siakam,
Yeah.
OG.
Yep.
Damn.
Who else? Ibaka.
So
That's
I
a big
love
deal.
I love the matchup, and I think that it's gonna be very interesting. If I'm Philly, right? Let me put the Philly hat on first. If I'm looking at Toronto, I'm attacking Danny Green in the post, and I'm attacking whoever the hell is guarding Kawhi. Like I'm making it a point to get that man out the game because he doesn't belong on the floor. If I'm the because
He's probably gonna be checking JJ Redick.
That's what I'm saying.
Run
Somebody
him around.
like they're gonna cancel out one of their way.
But here's the thing though. We know that Kyle Lowry is not a defensive stalwart, right? He plays when he wants to play, right? I'm gonna tire him out, man. Like we know that JJ could run around the whole
Yeah.
game on offense.
Kyrie always got a little beer belly.
You know what I'm saying? To me, I would try to dictate matchups because I think that's also a thing that a head coach can do. You know what I'm saying? If they're switching, this is the matchup we want to get to. You know what I'm saying? Get Ben Simmons on the post on Kyle Lowry. I don't care what it takes. That's what we got to do.
Yep.
So to me, I'm singling out those two guys because Danny Green is decent perimeter-wise, but in the post, he's nothing. So if I got Ben Simmons out there, put that little guy in the post too. You know what I'm saying? Put all those little guys in the
What type of
post.
shot was that, Westbrook?
If I am Toronto and I'm looking at it, I think the obvious thing is try to make Ben Simmons a shooter. But if I'm Toronto,
Good
I think that
pass.
my X factor is Siakam. I think Siakam needs to outplay who's the guy that just got look like J. Cole?
Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris. I could not think of his name. But if Siakam can outplay Tobias, and if OG and who's the
I
other
think he's
light-skinned
hurt
guy off
on
the bench?
Anunoby and Fred Van
Anunoby.
Fleet.
He's hurt.
I think he's hurt.
Anunoby's hurt.
Van Fleet hurt too.
No, yeah, OG.
OG's hurt. Like hurt or just like twisted ankle.
No,
gone a
I
week
think
or
he's
two?
out.
Out till
Ooh.
the second round or out?
Hold on, I'm verifying.
Well, I was saying,
Yeah,
was
he
he
had
hurt this
an
round?
appendectomy.
Oh yeah, so he out there.
He had a 7'6" wingspan.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's
That
really
hurts.
big.
Yeah, that
him.
hurts.
Okay, so Philly in 6. I'm still sticking with that.
I'm gonna give it off the
Because of
Kawhi
Kyle
string. I'm
Lowry.
gonna go
Only
7.
because of Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry, man.
You keep bringing him up. I keep forgetting about him.
What, Kyle Lowry?
Yeah, how much of a
Yeah, he's gonna be a major letdown in this series, man.
unless he
I just
somehow
see it.
there's a chance that he could turn it around just for this series.
Nah, not against Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons
Not
will eat
in
him
a
alive.
series.
Oh
In
my
a
God.
game,
Man,
I give him a game.
You switch him and Kyrie on that championship Cleveland squad.
Oh,
I'm
no,
telling
same
you,
shit.
they
Same
still
shit.
the same
Same
thing.
shit. Same
The
shit.
same
It don't
damn
matter.
thing.
Dame will hit that same shot.
Dame will hit that same shot.
Would you rather have
Are you kidding
Dame
me?
over Kyrie?
As far
It
as
don't
what?
matter,
Just,
really.
it don't. To me, I've
You said
already
they're the same. They're
I've
just
already
different
said it.
jerseys.
It's just,
Ba- Basically.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I
come
think
on.
Kyrie finishes around the basket better than Dame, but
Barely though.
Yeah.
Dame is a good finisher too.
He is. Dame finishes more above the rim than Kyrie does. I
Oh
don't-
my
can't remember
God,
the last
man.
time Kyrie.
Like,
did.
Kyrie's not athletic.
No way. There's no way.
It's on automatic.
Come on.
It's on automatic.
You telling
It's
me?
on automatic.
Put respect on that man's name. What is wrong with you?
What did I say?
Oh
what did
my
I?
God.
What did I say?
We know what you said.
Nah.
32, 11 feet. He missed 5 shots.
He missed- yes.
Oh my God.
What did-
Put respect on that man's name.
What did I say? I said this is the if he's gonna prove that he's a superstar, this got to
No.
be the year. I said that. Listen to the episode.
No.
It should have
He
came
been
down to
doing
that,
it.
He's
man.
out.
He been-
He's
just
out
last
playing.
year.
He's out playing a superstar.
He
right
looking
now.
like a superstar right now. I give him
He's
that.
been-
No, he's been looking like that.
Who,
He's been
on the
balling
right?
like that. Man, that dude is a hell of a finisher, man. Look at that, dude.
Oh,
Look
give
at
me-
the degree of difficulty.
Catch and shoot.
Bam.
I don't care who
Come
here.
on.
Catch and shoot, baby.
Put respect on that man's name.
I ain't
Man,
never
he
said he
might
was
go for
trash.
60.
He might.
You might
He
have
missed
not.
5 shots.
They have to win this game.
Oh yeah, they have to.
They have
They
to.
have to.
Who?
Both teams.
Well, I think it's a wrap for OKC, but I think it's a must-win for Dame and Co. because they ain't gotta. He'll never get the stench off of being swept like that, but this helps. You know what I'm saying? This is like putting Burberry over that stinky ass
Yeah,
shit. You know what I'm saying?
it'll
Like,
help.
So he needed.
The thing is-
and the fact that he's been so dominant in this series,
The-
he's the reason why they up 3-1.
Yeah.
Like they up.
If they next round, who would they most likely play?
Denver.
Denver or
That's
San-
it, them.
They got a chance to get to the West Finals, man. They.
Do you
either
think that
Denver
will
or
happen?
Spurs. Either Denver or Spurs. They play them in the second round. You said what?
You think it will happen?
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible that
I
they can
do.
get them. Yeah, because I think Dame will smell blood at that point. I mean, I don't think he's gonna look past the opponent, but
Nah.
like, you know, if you got,
but I
He respect OKC more than Denver or San Antonio.
no.
I think you respect all of
I
his
think you respect
opponents.
all his
Exactly.
opponents. Yeah,
But I think that that confidence that you have to have
Yep.
as a leader.
yes,
You know what I'm saying? And what
Come-
he's saying behind closed doors,
Yes.
he's telling CJ, "Hey, bro,
right,
Jamal Murray, who Jamal Murray?
right.
Who the hell
That's
is
what I'm
Jamal
saying.
Murray?
Right.
Who the hell is a Jamal
Right.
Murray? Because
Who is Patty Mills?
Who
You know
all
what
these
I'm saying?
guys, bro? They ain't
Right.
nobody.
That's
Go
what I'm
out here and
saying.
eat.
I told you
That's what I'm
nobody
saying.
nobody respect the nigga named Patty.
That's what I'm saying, man. If look, they get past this, and you possibly
Yeah.
playing the Denver or Spurs,
Yeah.
they can,
Especially Denver.
Right.
It's, because San Antonio is still that lower.
You got
of,
pop.
of
Yeah,
pop.
you got pop.
Hey,
You gotta
let's
respect
not
it off the
forget
cuff.
Let's not forget the comment he made a couple years ago about like Dame knows like the team to get through is Golden State. Like he has his a bullhorn on Golden
He
State.
from the Bay Area, ain't he?
Mhm.
He's
Oh,
faced
oh,
him
no.
twice.
He's faced him twice. Got swept by him one time, and like he knows. Like it's kind of like when we was coming up, the Pistons. Like Zeke know, like boss. Like that's who we gotta get right there to get to the motherland. Like
We beat them.
We beat
It
them.
don't matter who
It
we
don't
play
matter
in
who
the
we
East,
play. In the,
we gonna beat their ass.
Yeah. So
Yep.
like that's how Dame is like.
If Dame can take this team to the Western Conference Finals, he's officially a superstar.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
That's what I would say.
I
Because to me, if he gets knocked out second round by either San Antonio or Denver, what do we say about him for this season?
We don't say nothing.
Because it's like you look at the roster and how is it built. Like we're not saying Portland is a championship team. It'd be different if we pinning them like, you know what, for Portland is championship or bust. Then we could probably put a standard, start putting Dame Lillard at a standard. Like,
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
Dame. You
Michael
just got
Jordan-
this
Expectations
squad.
ain't that high.
Michael
Right.
Jordan ruined basketball because he put unrealistic expectations on superstars
After he retired. Yeah.
after he did what he did.
Post Michael Jordan. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
He-
true. I can kind of agree.
It's just
Everybody's
Because
spoiled
he just
now.
needed him and
Everybody's-
one other guy, and he could take.
Everybody's spoiled now.
Yeah.
Everybody's spoiled from what he's been.
they think
6-0
one
in the
person
finals.
one person's supposed to really do it all,
Yeah.
and Jordan and Akeem were really the only ones to really do that like that. Because Keem didn't really have anybody around him.
He didn't have nobody else on his level. Even though Jordan was better than Pippen, Pippen was on his level.
Yeah.
In terms of athletically, being able to control the game, because Pippen didn't have to score.
Except when Clyde Drexler came in '95.
That was question.
Did Jordan? What was that you just said, kid?
He ruined basketball.
He ruined basketball.
He did.
He ruined basketball.
On multiple
is.
The
fronts.
bar was set very high.
The Santa Clausification of Michael Jordan.
And you know, to add to that,
Wow,
you know what it was
interesting-
too, Ken?
That's an interesting statement.
MJ was the precursor to social media and marketing and you know, because think about, sneakers weren't really even though I know Adidas and Run DMC and all of them, they had a movement.
No,
But it wasn't the Jordan.
Until
Dog.
Jordan
It
came
wasn't
on.
the Jordan 1s and 2s and 3s and you know the whole line. Like
When you got
Damn.
other NBA players rocking your shoes, like other superstars too at that,
exactly
rocking your shoes.
Yeah, man, that was just
that shit is crazy.
Damn.
All right, so how we feeling about this Denver Spurs series? Because we'll be in the second round next week, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it should be. For the most
Denver
part.
is smashing them tonight.
They smashed
They're at
them,
home.
so they about to go up 3-2.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
So you think?
I think go
Nuggets about
7.
Nah, it'll be over.
Whoa, what's the
Nuggets
score?
beat them 92-63.
Yeah, it's over. It's over, y'all.
Yeah.
Wait, that's the final score.
No. It's 9:44 left in the fourth. 92-63. It's a wrap.
It's
For
over.
this
Nuggets
game,
about to
yes,
go-
for this game.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
Nuggets
this
about to
game.
go.
I think it goes
They going
7.
back to San Antonio.
So you going San Antonio? Yep.
Yeah,
It's
next
gonna
game.
sit.
He said
Nah, it's
6.
going 7.
Yeah.
Then
Okay.
I said San Antonio 7, right?
Yeah,
I don't know
I
what
picked
you said.
Spurs
I just picked
too.
the Spurs again in
I picked
general.
the Spurs too.
Yeah.
I had picked
I
the
just
Spurs.
in
I
Pop I
picked Denver.
trust.
You did.
So what do you
Because
think
we was
is a
all
better,
wasn't trusting Denver. I remember going to this playoffs.
So what do you think is a better matchup for Portland, Denver or San Antonio?
A better matchup for them
for
to be
Portland,
for
to-
Portland.
for Portland to advance.
I would say Denver, even though they the higher seed, but for some reason
I,
say
yeah,
Denver.
I would say Denver.
I would
too.
say Spurs because I don't trust LA or DeRozan.
I say Spurs because they don't have as much weapons.
They
Like
got Greg
like,
Pop though.
They do got Greg Pop.
He can
You
only
already
That was the
know
know.
only
that.
reason
You
why.
already know.
His
You
mind
already
is a
know.
weapon.
Yeah.
But when I look at Denver, them boys got weapons. They
Yes.
young, but them boys got weapons.
But that's the thing. Like they young,
I
right?
feel you, but that's the reason why I'm
They
saying
growing up right now, bro.
they are growing up. But that's the reason why I'm saying for Portland to win, I think the better matchup is San Antonio because I don't trust LA in the playoffs. DeMar DeRozan has been flaky in the playoffs.
Throwing balls at referees and shit.
You know, the only reason why I even put them up there is because of Pop. It ain't because of the players on the roster. So I think if Portland is going to beat somebody to get to them Western Conference Finals, it would be San Antonio versus Denver. Because Denver can either match what Dame is doing right now, or if 2 or 3 guys start really going,
They can always. They got Gary Harris. They got Torrey Craig. They got Will Barton.
Yeah,
They got. They got all kind of.
Millsap.
Paul Millsap.
Yeah, Millsap. This guy named Malik Beasley. Joker, like they got
Yeah,
they got all of these different assortment of pieces, and it comes down to Mike Malone, what he's going to coach. And for me,
and
the
he's
reason,
a hell of a coach.
and he is, and he's proven that. Like they could have lost this series easy because they were down in I think in most of these games, the first 3 games. Like they had to come back in the second game just
Their
to win
youth
that
showed.
one.
Their
Yeah,
youth
yeah,
showed.
and then Jamal Murray went off in the fourth quarter, and then the last game they
then
won.
he scored like 20.
He scored like 21 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then in the last game, Joker went off in the second half, and they went on this big run. So that's why I just didn't trust LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan. Their history is there. Like I just knew you.
Oh, you ain't stopping this, man. You ain't stop. And did you peep what happened? They wanted the Russell matchup. Hey, come set this. Oh yeah, come here.
Yeah, come here. Right.
Bang bang.
Russ got to finish that layup.
Hey, that's a Curry now. That's a Curry. That's a Curry.
Russ got to finish that layup.
That's S dot.
Now they up.
Uh-oh.
They up now.
Mm-hmm.
You
It's
know
a
what?
wrap.
I saw a head dip. It's over. Confidence.
Was that Schroeder that you saw hit it? Yeah.
Kid, that was some uh-oh.
Hey man, sometimes when you know you facing the better team, that's it. When you miss a layup like that, man,
It's at
like,
home too. They got to close
You
this out.
just feel like you were like, man, like yeah, he got to finish that layup because that's easy money for him. So
And you got to the rack.
yeah, like you right
It's the
there,
playoffs.
like what happened. But he I don't know why he always missed those type of layups. It's
because he ain't.
too much energy.
Yeah.
It's a lot to harness, man. Yeah, man.
It's not. It's all over the
Yeah.
place. That's why I said it's not focused.
But your boy Jamal Murray having his coming out party, man.
He
I
is.
tried to tell you that he did.
Try to tell me.
Yes, you and I, we
Me?
had a debate about Jamal Murray. I was like,
In
yo,
the playoffs or just overall?
just overall.
When was this?
It was this year.
Oh, we gonna have
Well,
roll the tape.
I don't
Roll
know
the
where-
tape.
Go to the archives.
But I was like,
because I know I was big on Jamal Murray.
I know you were big on him, but I was like, yo, I think he could be a star in this league, and I thought he could be a go-to guy. And I think that's where our disagreement was at.
We gonna have to run that tape.
All right, well, somebody out there listening, if y'all remember the episode, find it for me. But Joker, I think the last game where he was a little bit more aggressive, I think that's gonna help his confidence level, because you can't be Arvydas Sabonis in the playoffs, bro. You know, you got to be a baller. And Jamal Murray, you know, is doing his thing, so.
That'll be it for this week. We about to start watching the damn
I know,
game.
right?
We got
That'll be it.
Like
catch
a
us, catch
But
us
yeah.
next week.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, this-
5 of he's. Oh, it's
Struggling.
over. Because he was just 4 of 6 or 5 of 7.
That's,
Oh, you gotta make
that's
that.
why they got. That's why they got to close this game out though.
Yeah, that's easy money on.
But
that.
I'm just saying now he's 5 of 14.
He was 5 of 14 last game, 2 for 14 points.
But I'm just saying it was just a few minutes ago. He was like 4 of 6 from the field, and all of a sudden he just 5 of 14. Where is Paul George? This is what I'm saying, man. Like,
He's hurt, and he's out the game at the moment.
why? It's the closeout game. I hope he in foul trouble. Let me see. Anyway, man, that's gonna do. Oh, let's see what Kyle said. 34 points, Dame in the first.
What he say? What he say? Go ahead and read it out loud.
34
Ooh, that
points for
almost went
Dame
in.
in the first half. Take notes, Nick.
Hey, you hearing it? I've been said if this is the year that Dame proves that he's a superstar.
But that's a superstar performance, though.
No, this. I'm just saying he's showing it. He got the Hulu money, so I guess.
Oh, no, that's Portland. I mean, that's
OKC.
OKC ball.
Paul George must be in foul. Yeah, he has 3.
No, but
fouls.
I will say once the series is wrapped up, we will have to address the Paul George situation. As far as the lack of criticism he's gotten.
Yeah, it don't make any sense, man. But clickbait. But yeah, and he has 3 fouls, so I think that's why. That's probably when the game turned for Portland.
Ooh, damn!
That was a stupid shit.
Don't say he's hurt too. Portland can't deal with that.
Yeah,
And his cancer's rolling on the floor right
so
now.
anyway,
I think his shoulder might be.
Dislodge?
all right. Well, that's gonna do it for us, man. We'll catch you guys next time. We out. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Oh, it's his pinky. Oh shit. Fuck, that shit was hanging out way over here like that.
He was grabbing his
Yeah, he was grabbing the shoulder on the way on this possession.
Maybe his pinky was looking like that.
But when he's healthy, productive is it on the offensive end, not defensively.
No, he's when you talk about replacement levels, he's actually done a good job.
He was
of being
perfect.
that
Oh
replacement
yeah,
level.
I loved him in New York because he was always got more.
He was just overpaid.
Yeah,
He was a bad contract.
Ooh, if that's Paul George for a foul, then they definitely lose it. I didn't see the game, but I think when Paul George came out of the game with foul trouble,
We got the remote.
oh yeah, I think that may have been the series turn because now all of a sudden you gotta rely on. I felt like we was fucking over it, so And the thing about it is, you know how many teams could have picked up Canada